Pirate I Was Dug Up by Robin, Chapter 301 to 320. Chapter 301 ASL. The three Straw Hat Brothers finally meet. Open black lens bracket 3/4 for order close black lens bracket. Through a rolling sea. The East Blue Fleet came to a relatively calm sea. Warm sunshine. The breeze is not dry. The great root in the chaos of the magnetic field. This is a symbol of entering a stable large climate island region. Everyone, we have come to the waters near Santin Island, and we will be there soon. Nami stood above the clouds and informed the people in the fleet. When hearing the news, East Blue people of the fleet immediately showed their excitement. Not just because days of fearful seafaring are coming to an end. More because they are about to arrive at their destination. Arrive at the place that is said to be enveloped by the Song of the Gods. Sky Island at a height of 10,000 meters. It's like the beautiful going bells that God is singing. These, for them, things should have been untouchable in a lifetime. Now, however, they have the opportunity to approach, even witness, and listen with their own ears. How lucky this is. Another 2 hours later. The outline of a huge island appeared in people's sight. Alabasta, here it is. Dang, 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 the melodious going bell rings at this moment. Like a wonderful fairy tale, lingering on this sky. At the same time, it also echoed in the ears of everyone in the fleet. The haunting sound of the beautiful going bell. People who were about to scream in surprise closed their mouths and eyes. The turbulent mood was calmed down by the sound of the bell. Just listen quietly and enjoy the baptism from the going bell. The legendary Going Bell Tower. It's a worthwhile trip to hear such a wonderful bell. Windmill Ship. Fire Fist Ace unconsciously showed an intoxicated smile on his face. I really want Daddy, Marco and the others to listen to. Just when the people on the boat were still immersed in the wonderful going bells. The fleet continued to move forward. The outline of the island ahead is gradually clear. A majestic city also appears in people's sight. That is, Waesung. More than 20 East Blue fleets headed by Going S Ark sailed into Crescent Bay in turn. When the 108th bell struck, the going bell drifting over Alabasta finally subsided. Everyone, wake up, we've already arrived. Nami clapped her hands and woke the intoxicated people. Oh, have you arrived yet? Nojiko opened his eyes with a look of surprise. This is Waesung, is Mr. Roland here? A look of excitement appeared on Makino's fair face. Fuck. Cow cow. Amazing. ... The bandits of the Dayton family looked at the magnificent Wachung. Involuntarily blurted out. These are the only adjectives that bandits with a low level of education can think of. The guests who have come all the way from East Blue have worked hard all the way, so I will arrange for everyone to rest for a while. Alice, the girl in the peaked cap, appeared. Oh. Then trouble you, little girl. Ajien and so on. The simple people of East Blue are all nodding their heads. Under the arrangement of the girl Alice. Most of the East Blue people head to the residential areas of the city first. There are a small number of other people, still staying in the Crescent Bay, waiting anxiously and expectantly. Hey, old man, and the bastards in the restaurant. Suddenly there was a loud cry of joy in the sky. The people in the bay raised their heads subconsciously and looked at the curly-browed youth who stepped on the air. The chefs of the sea restaurant Barati, headed by the red-footed Zeph, suddenly showed extremely shocked and surprised expressions on their faces. As that, Sanji. It's that bastard Sanji. That guy Sanji, is actually flying in the sky. Barati's battle chefs murmured in shock. Sanji, you idiot. Red-footed Zeph's knees were slightly bent, and his body suddenly popped out. Rotating 720,720 degrees in the air, he kicked Sanji who was stepping on the moon step in the air with a heavy kick. Ahem, old bastard, what are you doing? Sanji coughed twice, patted the dust on his body, and looked dissatisfied. Flying so high, we keep raising our heads, aren't our necks sore? Redfoot Zeph, Zoro's righteous words. Ha ha ha. A group of fighting chefs at Bharati, a seaside restaurant, burst out laughing. Zoro, look over there, Brother Zoro is here. Really, Brother Zoro is here. Children at the Shimotsuki village Ishin dojo point to the green algae head not far away. Immediately, he exclaimed happily. Boss Zoro. Boss. The sword god Johnny and sword Saint Joseph who came with the boat also shouted happily. Zoro, you really got stronger. Ishin dojo owner Kushiro folded his hands in his sleeves. The sword intent on Zoro, the most outstanding disciple, a smile appeared on his face unconsciously. However, the smile on Kushiro's face soon disappeared. Everyone in the harbor was equally astonished. In their sight, the green algae-headed youth who was running straight towards the bay, suddenly paused in the middle without warning. Then, I don't know which nerve in my brain is connected wrong. Suddenly, he made a sharp turn and ran to the other side. Senior Zoro, the direction is wrong. Boss, you are running in the wrong direction. Johnny, Joseph and others, fall. Kushiro. Zoro, did your observation haki also inherit your Lucci attribute? The long-nosed Usopp who came with Zoro slashed Zoro's head with a painless knife. Ah. Zoro opened his closed eyes. That was completely deviated, his face suddenly became stunned. Zoro's idiot attribute is really strong, even observation haki has been taken astray, tisk tisk. Sabo was also amazed. Ha ha ha. Straw Hat Luffy laughed mercilessly. Day vacation in the back, and the fishman young Nobel and others couldn't help laughing. Okay, Luffy, let's go too, hurry up and meet Miss Makino and the others. Sabo touched the top of Luffy's head and smiled. Luffy nodded heavily. But the next moment, observation haki of Sabo and Luffy suddenly felt something, raised his head suddenly, and looked towards the harbor several hundred meters away. There. A scorching flame rose into the sky and galloped straight in the direction they were in. Moment for him to come to them. A Whitebeard skull emblem lit up in the huge flame of, there. You are. Look at the familiar flame skull logo. Sabo suddenly widened his eyes. His face was completely filled with shock. Ace. Sob. Luffy. ... Chapter 302 Brothers Reunion. Excited to see you again. Open black lens bracket 4/4 for order close black lens bracket. Waesung Crescent Bay. With the arrival of the East Blue Fleet, the atmosphere was lively. Played, with Bharati's chef buddies. The children of Shimotsuki village's Ishin dojo, Johnny and Joseph, the two sword masters, secretly shouted anxiously for Zoro's road crazy attribute. Makino who came from the Windmill Village, the village chief Slap and the bandits of the Dayton family were also full of anticipation. Hey, Miss Makino, Sister Makino, they're all here, just tell me. Ace is still pestering Makino. Wanting to know what the secret that everyone is hiding is the past 2 days with the fleet, Ace almost broke his head and couldn't think of a reason. But his intuition told him that what Makino and the others didn't tell him must be important. Makino put his hands on his hips and looked at Ace who was tirelessly asking questions, with a bright smile on his pretty face. Okay. Makino nodded in agreement. Really? Ashton looked happy. A pair of ears pricked up, ready to hear the doubts that had haunted him for days. Actually Luffy has. Makino opened his mouth. Wait, Makino finished. Ace suddenly frowned. Turn around. Look at people hundreds of meters away. Luffy and... Just one glance. Ace's gaze was locked on his younger brother, Straw Hat Luffy, who was hundreds of meters away. At the same time, I also saw that. The young man who put his big hand on his brother Luffy's head and caressed dotingly. So, Ace's eyes widened. The mouth is also wide open. An emotion called shock quickly invaded his whole body. Then, everything turned into excitement, erupting from his heart like a volcano. Looks like I don't need to tell you anymore, Ace. Makino said with a look of relief. Go, Ace. The moment Makino's voice fell, bear. Ace's body has been elementalized. A bright, fiery line of fire flashed across the bay sky. In an instant, it caught everyone's attention. Who? King felt the surging flames. Zoro, the black-haired swordsman Lucio and the others subconsciously drew their swords and unsheathed them. Is more powerful armament hockey attached to the blade? It doesn't take a moment. The bright flame had already fallen in front of everyone. A prominent Whitebeard skull emblem burst into flames. All the people who made them couldn't help but take a deep breath. This is Whitebeard Pirate Chronicles. Fishman Youth Noble's shocking opening. This flame, is it Logia burning the fruit? Shemale Bentham exclaims. Whitebeard pirates, burn the fruit, could he be? These two key information points are synthesized. Many of the people present had already guessed the identity of the person who came. Of course, some people still failed to react, such as the Straw Hat Luffy. Sabo naturally can't guess. Look at the fiery flames in front of you. Sabo's eyes turned red. Even through the flames, he could already see the figure in it. Sabo, what's wrong with you? The unresponsive Luffy remained unconscious. He looked at the tearful brother with a puzzled and surprised look on his face. Call. Sabo took a deep breath. He shouted with all his strength. Ace. Just as Sabo shouted. Ace, wrapped in flames, also took a deep breath. In one breath, he took all the flames around him into his mouth and nose. Reveal his true self. Sob. Luffy. Ruddy eyes. Ace also turned all his excitement and joy at the moment into this roar. The sound shook the world. The shouts of the two youths echoed in the sky of Waesung. Everyone in the commander couldn't help but look at him. Even the chefs Sanji and Barati, who really got along, stopped subconsciously. The atmosphere in the room fell into a momentary silence. After a while. Hey. Look at Ace walking out of the flames. Straw Hat Luffy's eyeballs are about to pop out of their sockets. Shock and disbelief were written all over his face. Ace came out of the fire. Is this flame Ace? Straw Hat Luffy said in surprise. Did you just react? Zoro, Lucio, Bentham and others all fall to the ground. 4. Comrades, rants. The Straw Hat boy didn't even notice. At this moment, all his attention was on his brother, who suddenly flashed in front of him. Since seeing Sabo alive at Windmill Village more than 3 months ago, how many times he had imagined the reunion of the three brothers in his mind. Now, it finally became a reality. Sabo, you're Sabo, right? Sabo, Luffy, our three brothers. I'm not dreaming, right? Ace rubbed his hands nervously, his face full of shock and disbelief. Ace, I'm back. Sabo had a big smile on his face. As soon as he opened his mouth, Ace burst into tears. Bastard, you know how to come back. Ace laughed and cried. He strode forward, opened his arms, and hugged his brother, whom he had not seen for many years. I want, Ace, Sabo, I want to hug too, don't exclude me. With the vitality Straw Hat said, acting like a spoiled child. Then, he developed the ability of the rubber fruit, and stretched his hands and legs. At the same time, Ace and Sabo were hugged tightly, or more precisely tied together, and then fell to the ground. Luffy, what are you doing? Let us go. Ashto. Hey, Luffy, head over to Ace, snot. Snot all over my clothes. Sabo rode. Woo, I don't care, the three of us must be fine from now on. Luffy shook her head like a heroine in a romance drama. Holding Sabo and Ace and rolling around on the ground, the scene was once very philosophical. What a touching reunion, that's what you call a brother. Shemale Bentham opened his mouth with emotion. casually grabbed a black coat beside him, wiped the tears from his face, and then blew his nose, which was sticky. Asshole too, what are you doing? Crocodile, who was requisitioned for a fur coat without authorization, had black lines all over his face. Ahahaha, sorry, little Karak. Shemale Bentham whistled as if nothing was wrong, trying to slip away. Salon. A sand tornado rolled up on the ground and took the Shemale Bentham to the sky. Chapter 303 Ace. Lying FCK **** 1/4 please customize full order close black lens bracket. Ace. Luffy. Sabo. ... Watchung Plaza. Who gathered again after 10 years, hug each other, and wrestle on the ground in the square. Happy calling each other's names. The scene was once very philosophical. Around, Zoro, Usopp, and the others were all looking at these three brothers who were rolling around in surprise. The captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Fire Fist Ace, turned out to be Luffy and Sabo's bro. Unbelievable. Haired swordsman Lucio and the fishman Youth Nob looked at each other. All of them saw shock in the eyes of the other party. Straw Hat Luffy, Dragon King Sabo and Fire Fist Ace, what's going on with these three brothers? Are not fuel-efficient lamps? Crocodile narrowed his eyes and thought in shock. All right, Luffy, Ace, Sabo, all three of you are no longer children, still, rolling on the ground. Makino came to the three brothers. Looking at the three Straw Hat brothers who were the same as more than 10 years ago, crystal tears flowed involuntarily from their big eyes. You bastards, get up. Slap had a stern expression on his face. Yeah, Luffy, Ace, Sabo, you three bastards, how dirty your clothes are, take them off and help you wash them. The bandit adoptive mother, Dayton, watched the scene of the three brothers reuniting, and her eyes could not help but get wet. Just like more than 10 years ago, he subconsciously spoke warm words in the fiercest tone. Typical knife-mouthed tofu heart. Hee. Ha ha. Ahahaha. Look at the people walking to the nearby windmill village. The three brothers who were immersed in their own world and rolled around stood up and smiled embarrassedly. Then Chi-Chi raised his hand and touched the back of his head, his movements were uniform. Makino and the others burst into laughter. The other side. Zoro is also finally meeting with the masters, juniors and juniors of Shimotsuki Village. Usopp, who was born in Syrup Village, happily dragged Mary, the sheep-headed housekeeper from the same village, to tell about his fantastic experience during this period. These stories of him can no longer fool Kaya, who has seen the world. Now I can only settle for the next best thing and tell Mary about it. 4. Usopp's bragging. Sheephead Mary just smiled and should drink. Even if I knew there was a large degree of exaggeration, I didn't deliberately expose it. Ha ha ha, what's the matter, Mary, are you frightened by my experience? Usopp put his hands on his hips and said proudly. No, Usopp, is that my Mary going Mary in the sky? The reason why Mary the sheep was stunned was not Usopp's boasting. It was because he saw the ship slowly falling from the sky. Going Mary from his hands. His ship has turned into a spaceship. Sheephead Mary looked at the Mary that fell from the sky with a bewildered expression. That's Mr. Roland and the others. Mr. Rollins, here they come. The president is here. Haired swordsman Lucio, the fishman Youth Nob, and the others were instantly shocked. Mr. Roland. Hear Roland's name. Makino, who was helping the three brothers to dust off their clothes, turned around quickly. An expression of joy appeared on the fair and pretty face. The change in Makino's expression, the village chief Slap curled his lips. Under the collective gaze of everyone in Watchung Square, the Going Mary landed slowly to the ground. Swish, the light and shadow on the boat flickered. Just a blink of an eye. Ace was shocked to find that there was another person not far in front of him. Mr. Roland. Rolingo. Makino and Nami came forward with delight at the first time. Tutor. Handsome uncle. Mr. Roland. President. Other people in the square also spoke up, although their names are different. But Ace knew that the person people were referring to was definitely that man with a kind smile and a handsome man. That person is the master of this city. Lying, fuck. Looking at Roland not far away, Ace couldn't help but feel a big trough in his heart. A pair of eyes widened again. The shocking emotion also occupied his mind once again. The way to Alabasta. Ace also learned a lot about the city from Makino, Nami and other people. He even learned a big secret from Brooke. That is the major events that have occurred frequently in the sea in recent months. Almost all have to do with the owner of the city. On the way here, Ace is not only concerned about the secrets hidden by Makino and others. It is also a city that gathers strong men like Brooke, Isho, and Enel, and the masters behind it. Now, he finally got his wish to see the person behind all events. So, once again, I was completely shocked by what I saw. After all, he never thought that the person who stirred up the boundless situation of the sea would be such a young and unfamiliar existence. 3 years of crawling and rolling on the sea. He became the captain of the 2nd and 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Ace considers himself to be well informed, even the 4 emperors have seen all of them. But he couldn't recognize the identity of the young man in front of him. This is definitely a new guy, yet qualified to lead such a terrifying organization. It's unbelievable. Especially after seeing the look of admiration on his brother Sabo's face. The unbelievable look on Ace's face suddenly worsened. Sabo, who is that person? Ace finally couldn't suppress the curiosity and shock in his heart, and asked. He is our mentor. Sabo sighed. Tutor. Ace was stunned again. Ha ha ha, Ace, about the true identity of the mentor, I can't tell for a while. I'll tell you slowly at the banquet later. Sabo patted Ace on the shoulder. Ace nodded shyly. Okay, everyone, the welcome banquet is ready, let's go have something to eat together. Roland said loudly. Oh. The straw hat boy who likes banquets the most is the first to respond. Oh. The people in the square also cheered in unison. 10 minutes later. Roland took the people in the square to the Banquet Dome restaurant in Waesung. Robin, Koala and others who arrived here first have already made preparations for the banquet. Zephyr, veterans, Rayleigh, Golden Lion, etc. are also in place. With the arrival of Roland and an order, the lively welcome feast begins. He, let's have a banquet. The Straw Hat Boy shouted happily and started to eat. Ace. Sabo pushed Ace, who was completely sluggish beside him, with a smile on his face. Under Sabo's push, Ace's body jolted. Finally got back to God. Fuck. Chapter 304 Legends Meet. Nami's mentality collapsed. Open black lens bracket 2/4 for order close black lens bracket. Waesung Dome Banquet Restaurant. A grand welcome banquet is underway. The atmosphere is warm. The attendees this time are Kushiro, Slap, etc. Representatives of hundreds of islands and villages in East Blue. As the first batch of collaborators of the Maritime Work Club, they were invited to attend the opening ceremony of Waesung City in the near future. Of course. Except the folks at East Blue. Zephyr, veterans, Rayleigh, Golden Lion, etc. The main members of the WA organization will naturally not be absent from this banquet. East Blue for generations can recognize the legends of these, they have faded from the sight of the world for many years. But Ace knew it. Impossible not to recognize. Brooke from Twin Cape is here now. Then, Ace wouldn't be too surprised about Crocus' appearance. Just the right hand of Hades Rayleigh, his biological father. Why is this legendary pirate even so close to his younger brother Luffy here? And the guy over there. The guy with the blonde hair to the ground. Be the legendary flying pirate Golden Lion Shiki. It must be that golden lion. This guy who used to be as famous as his biological father Roger and now his father Whitebeard, how did he get in here? Those who are puzzled are the old people on the other side of the venue. Does Ent know veterans like Alfred and Dean? But that Marine Chief Instructor, former Marine Admiral Blackarm Zephyr, Ace recognized it. Marine Chief Instructor Blackarm Zephyr, Flying Pirate Golden Lion Shaki plus Hades Rayleigh, Brooke and Crocus, what kind of fairy team is this? Epic gathering. I'm not dreaming, right? I don't know how many times the emotion called shock took over his whole body today. He was completely dumbfounded, unable to move. Ace, Ace. Aside, Sabo patted Ace on the shoulder and called out several times in a row. After Sabo's repeated calls, Ace came back to his senses. An involuntary jolt of the body. An extremely shocked expression appeared on his face. Lying fuck it. Ace opened his mouth and unconsciously blurted out the big shit in his heart. This was already the only word left in Ace's mind. Ha ha. Hearing Ace's continuous screaming, Sabo couldn't help but smile. Knowing that my brother was afraid of being frightened by this scene. No wonder. After all, when he returned from South Blue, he met Rayleigh and Chief Instructor Zephyr in the harbor, and learned the true identity of Roland. The inner shock is not much less than that of Ace. It was the first time I saw such a legendary gathering scene. Can stand it. Sabo, what's wrong with Ace? Luffy, who was immersed in the joyous banquet, also noticed Ace's sluggish state. While shoving a big flesh and blood into his mouth, he asked vaguely. Ha ha ha, it's okay, just let Ace calm down and digest it first, and then talk about the rest. Sabo dotingly pats Luffy's head. Fire Fist Ace here is still in a sea-like shock. Other hand, Nami, who had returned, was also confused when she heard the lavish praise from her sisters. Wait, stop. Nami waved her hands again and stopped. Little Vivi, Sister Robin, what are you talking about? Why am I just hockey? Nami asked in confusion. Nami, you are so humble. Koala smiled. Indeed, little Nami, your performance this time really makes me feel ashamed. Shaki also shook his head with emotion. Sister Shaki, even you are making fun of me, what's the point of this? I can't understand it at all. Nami was about to cry. It's okay, since everyone said that, it means that it must be a good thing. Nojiko comforted. Pop, the thoughtful girl Alice brought the newspaper from the previous day to Nami. As expected of the head of Nami's eldest sister, she is really full of hockey, and the younger sister admires. The girl Alice said sincerely. Didn't feel anything about the compliment from the girl Alice. At this moment, her eyes were already occupied by the news reports in front of her. On the huge news page, there are only 4 big characters, 4 emperors. This huge headline is matched with her confident, high-spirited hockey figure isolated on the mast. It was as if she just stood there hockey, saying the 4 characters, 4 emperors in a district. Looking at this wonderful combination, even Nami herself couldn't help but say hockey. Of course, the premise is that the person in the photo is not her. Which bastard reported it? Nami swept through the entire report with light speed, and couldn't help but widen her beautiful eyes. When she knew the truth, tears were streaming down her face. Ha, is Miss Nami looking for me? You're welcome, this is what I should do. Who happened to be passing by with a glass of red wine, patted the bear's breast with pride written all over his face. Morgans, it's you stupid bird, I'm the choreographer. Nami gritted her teeth. Morgans was stunned, sensing a strange aura. Ha, I still have something to do, so I'll go first. Morgans wanted to run away. Where do you want to go? Nami clenched her little pink fist and slapped Morgans in the face. A meal, a fat beating. 5 minutes later. Morgans ran with his head like a pig's head, flapping his wings. Nami, who had beaten Morgans, let out a sigh of relief and sat back in her seat. Little Nami, what's wrong? Vivi, Robin and the others at the same table looked at Nami in surprise. Through the scene just now, they also saw something wrong. Little Vivi, Sister Robin, everyone, it's because the unscrupulous media of Morgans took it out of context. I said that day to comfort Makino and Sister Nojiko, I only said that I was a subordinate of the four emperors, and when I got to him, I automatically the following words are omitted. Nami's mentality collapsed and she almost cried. That's right, that's exactly what Nami said. Makino and Nojiko are two proofs for Nami. Oh. So it is. Koala, Vivi and others all nodded. It's all to blame for that stupid bird. Now the whole world probably knows it, and the four emperors of the new world should have seen it too. They won't come to me, right? No, four emperors Whitebeard and four emperors Red Hair are not so stingy people, this matter has nothing to do with it, at most. Kaido of the Beasts just pay attention, it's okay. The girl Alice analyzed. It's terrifying just to be remembered by a Kaido of the Beasts. Nami wants to cry without tears. Ha ha ha. The other side. With Zephyr, Andrew and other veterans, also heard the conversation from the little girl. When he learned about the cause and effect, he couldn't help laughing out loud. Boss Roland, what good things have come to mind again? Asked veteran Dean. It's nothing, drink and drink. Rollins raised a glass. Quote. Just then. An intelligence officer from a shipping agency suddenly came in a hurry. What's wrong? We just discovered the ship of the four Emperor thieves in the open sea, and it is estimated that it will arrive in 5 minutes. Chapter 305 Veterans come together. Mu Lien and Sambal are scolding mothers. Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. We found the ship of the four Emperor thieves in the open sea, and it is expected to arrive in 5 minutes. Middle of the banquet, when Luo Lin was drinking, chatting, and spanking with his former subordinates, the intelligence officer of the organization suddenly trotted anxiously. Attack of the thief to Roland. Charlotte Linlin. Roland raised his eyebrows unexpectedly. I thought that after the annihilation of the beast fleet, the pirates on the sea would be a little calmer. Who is this time? According to the sightings, that potato boat should belong to the thief's general Star Snag. The intelligence officer replied. Snag. Roland was taken aback. If he remembered correctly, it seems that the shame of the star was caught on the same day that Drought Jack was destroyed. It was not the World Economic News of Morgans that reported the news at that time, but another large newspaper. Big Boss. Just when Roland was thinking about this question, the veteran at the same table, former Marine Vice Admiral Colin raised his hands again and again. Boss Luo Lin, I heard it, but it's just the trashy fish. I don't need you to take action, boss, give it to me. Retired former Marine Vice Admiral Colin patted his chest and confessed. Four Emperor thieves, you're really not good at learning at all, so count me as one. Dean, a good friend of veteran Colin, also volunteered. Count me in, count me in. I have been idle in the Marine headquarters for several years, and my body is almost rusted. Since I have the high salary of Boss Roland, how can I really not do any serious business? Leave it to me this time. Can you do it? You are already old, so let's go back a little bit. The other party is also one of Ant's generals, so let me come here. 1 past 10, 10 past 100. When the thief spread the news of Star Snag's attack, the veterans who were the first to hear the wind were all scrambling to speak up, volunteering, with blushing faces and thick necks, to fight this battle and contribute to Luo Lin. At the end of the fight, the enemy has not yet seen. All of them almost fought first. Fortunately, with Roland and Zephyr stopping, there was no chaos. However, the veterans at the venue still refused to accept their old age, and left the venue one by one, each showing what they could and galloping towards the coast. The scene was once spectacular. It's not just the star of the mere ant. If there is anything to grab, I will come. Zephyr Hockey, rise. Embarrassed to say it just now, but now I won't hide it in front of Luolin. Ha ha ha, let's go have a look together. Roland laughed. With the Zephyr duo, it was naturally impossible for people from all over the venue not to notice what happened to Roland and the veterans. Brother Rolling, what are they doing out? Vivi tilted his head in confusion. Agaga, it seems to be because of the arrival of the 4 Emperor bandits. Teenage Alice put away the phone bug. When the 4 Emperors heard the words, 4 Emperors, Nami's delicate body couldn't help but shudder. Shaki laughed. But in such a big battle, could it be that Charlotte Linlin came by herself? Robin guessed. Sister Robin, don't scare me. Nami, whose mentality has just collapsed, is like a bird in shock. Why don't we all go and have a look? Koala proposes. Okay. Little girls hit it off and went out happily. Yo-hoo-hoo-hoo, it seems that something happened, let's go and have a look. On the other hand, Brooke suggested. Then let's go and see the liveliness. Rayleigh rode. Oh, I still want to continue the banquet. Straw Hat Luffy looked reluctant. Ha ha ha, Luffy, the banquet can continue when we come back. If the excitement is missed, it will be gone. Sabo laughed and said, one in each hand, pulling the reluctant Luffy and the still sluggish Ace to follow. At this moment, a smooth sea surface about 500 meters away from Waesung Fortress. The potato pirate ship owned by the thief General Star Snag sailed straight towards the port of Waesung. There are only 4 people on the huge potato boat. 2 elderly and 2 middle-aged. The 2 stood and the 2 lay down. Naturally standing are Captain Mullen and Fishman Samble from the crew of One Piece, King of Pirates Roger. 2 people lying in a coma with serious injuries on the deck. Except, the owner of the potato boat, Will Star Snag. There is also the tall and burly beast, Brother Calamity, Jack with a reward of 1 billion. That day, under the combined big move of Isho and Enel, the fleet of beasts led by Jack Drought was wiped out. Drought Jack was also knocked into the sea by the double impact of thunder and lightning and big waves. But he didn't die. As a human-fish-man hybrid. Even in the sea, Jack will not suffocate and drown. Just because of the devil fruit, he couldn't move at all. Can only passively wait for others to rescue. Only before the Drought Jack waited for the rescue team of the beasts. Fishman Samble found him lying in the deep sea. So he, like Snag, was packed up and used as a gift for visiting Waesung. After all, 1 billion jacks and 900 million teeth. Drought Jack's ivory is still worth some money. Mulien, get ready, it's coming soon. Fishman Samble gave a cry. Come here. The old man Mulien, who was dressed in fancy clothes, 4 or 6, who didn't fit in, hurriedly pushed open the door and walked out. How about it, Samble, I'm very handsome today. The old man Mulien touched his own kill match shape and said complacently. I puff. Fishman Samble spurted a jet of water from his mouth, brushed past Mulien, and penetrated the deck. What are you doing? I'm dressing up to meet the boss, bastard. The old man Mulien said with dissatisfaction. Ha ha ha, sorry, but your look today. Fishman Samble suppressed his smile and nodded heavily. What's wrong with my look? How do you say it's chic enough? Your boss will be surprised. Fishman Samble gave a thumbs up. Hee hee. Old man Mulien touched his nose, and the expression on his face was not without smugness. But the next moment. Abrupt mutation. The smiles on the faces of Mulien and Samble converged. He turned his head abruptly and looked towards the direction of Waesung Harbor not far away. What's the situation? Looking at the chaotic sword light that covered the sky and illuminated the sky. And Fishman Samble on the boat screamed in shock. Carrying a gift each, they dodged to the sea on both sides. Kakaka, boom, The potato pirate ship produced by all countries, under the overwhelming sword light raging, disintegrated in an instant and ceased to exist. Chapter 306. See you again. Mulian and the veterans and Roland. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. The powerful sword chi of Shushushu is 10 million heavy. Swept across the sea. Densely packed. Overwhelmingly towards the only potato boat on the sea covered away. Kakaka, and Boom, were under the combined attack of such a terrifying dense rain of sword energy. By IWC could not escape the fate of falling apart. It disintegrated in an instant. Turned into countless pieces of wood and floated on the sea. Ha ha ha. The coast of Waisung, there was a sudden burst of laughter. It was a group of elderly people wearing short sleeves, big beach pants and slippers. Scattered across the sky and coast. More than half of the elderly people held a long knife in their hands. The previous slash that spanned tens of hundreds of meters came from their hands. This is it. Easy and easy. It's really underwhelming. My attack was the fastest just now. Shing shing shing, you are the fastest, you are the fastest, and that thing was also the fastest. Albert, you old boy can't do it at all. Don't laugh, old guy over there, you are the same. I'm embarrassed for all of you without even taking the boss's salary. Bastard, I don't need a knife. Yes, yes, the old man only uses his fists, let's practice if we have the ability. Ha ha ha. ... All over the Waisung coast. The old people's laughter and quarrel were endless. After so many years, these old brothers came together again. Returned to the command of the former commander. Everything seems to go back decades. The blood in the bodies of the veterans could not help stirring. Occasionally there was a red-faced noise in the middle. But not really angry. This is how these veterans who have been born and died get along. On weekdays, it hurts people, one by one more ruthlessly. If on the battlefield, one by one, they were able to block each other's knives without hesitation. This is their decades-long brotherhood. Hey, old guys, don't rush to celebrate, the battle isn't over yet, the people on the boat have already gone to sea. The prudent former Marine Vice Admiral Alfred warned loudly. Just as his voice fell. Just heard a bang sound. A huge wave exploded on the sea. A vague figure rushed out from under the sea. Throwing mine nuts. Where the hell is that bastard who dares to attack Lao Su? Accompanied by the figure rushing out, there was an angry shout. A spinning top appeared in the sight of the veterans. That's someone spinning like crazy. Whoosh, the next moment. Sharp arrow, rushed out of the top. The veterans towards the coast fell heavily. Looking at the slightly familiar figure of the spinning top in the sky. Many veterans raised their eyebrows. The figure flashed. Avoid the sharp arrow. The boom, thief smashed Star Snag's body down. Leaving a huge pothole in the ground on the coast. This guy, I remember, it seems to be the one who went down. Zhang Xing. How will Star Snag will be? Didn't he say the attacker was him? Instead, he was the one who got down on the ground first. ... When recognizing Snag's identity, the veterans on the shore all widened their eyes in shock. If this Ant's General Star has already been defeated, who is the person on the ship we just attacked? Someone raised this question. I always feel that the spinning top move looks a bit familiar. Veteran Colin frowned thoughtfully. Don't say it's that Euro move, the previous. Swear words are also very familiar. Another veteran's eyes widened, his face full of incredulity. No way. Could it be that the bad boy? That guy is still alive. ... The veterans on the Waisung coast all stared wide-eyed, showing a ghostly expression. Hey, over there, aren't you Mulian asshole? Former Marine Vice Admiral Alfred narrowed his eyes and shouted at the spinning battle top in the sky. Mulian, it should be you. You bastard is still alive. Mu Lian, your kid still has a face to appear in front of us. ... A group of veterans on the coast were talking at length. The sound waves converge. Shakes the sky and the sea. In the sky. The spinning of the mighty battle top gradually slowed down. Under the sea. The huge sea vortex that was also spinning also slowed down. Oh, I seem to have heard some inexplicably familiar voices. The fighting top Mu Lian was stunned. Exit the Euro charging state, step by step on the air to float in midair. A pair of old eyes looked at the enemies on the coast for the first time. Just one glance. The expression on the old man Mu Lian's face froze. A pair of eyes widened suddenly. His whole body was dominated by shocking emotions. As a result, the entire body function is in a state of stagnation. Muscle strike. Cardiopulmonary function is also suspended. Even breathing is suspended due to excessive shock, and the whole person falls into a state of rigidity. Under the collective gaze of the coastal veterans, he fell straight from the sky. Mu Lian. Mu Lian asshole. Are you all right? ... The veterans on the coast were in a hurry. But before they stepped on the moon step and went to help, the sea made a wave. He firmly caught Mu Lian's body. Old man, what's wrong with you? Fishman Samble asked worriedly. No, it's fine. Mu Lian, who finally took a breath, hurriedly shook his head. Those people on the shore look a little familiar. Fishman Samble wonders. Of course, because they, like me, used to be the subordinates of Boss Luo Lin. Mu Lian said excitedly. What did you say? Fishman Samble widened his fish eyes. Ha ha ha. Ignore Samble's shock. The old man Mu Lian let out a loud laugh, stepping on the moon step and soaring into the sky. Alfred, Andrew, Dean, Colin. You old people are still alive. Mu Lian greeted with a big smile. Ha ha ha, Mu Lian, you are the bastard. It's good to be alive. You betrayed us and joined the Roger Pirates. We haven't settled the account with you. Yes, and the boss, how do you want to explain it? Veterans grinned with a bad look. Ha ha ha, I am not afraid of heaven and earth, and I am afraid that you will fail. Mu Lian patted the bear in the cavity, looking arrogant and cool. Oh, this is really amazing, Kid Mu Lian. Ga, lao, boss. ... Chapter 307 Joy. Mu Lian and Samble were shocked again and again. Open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. Ha ha ha, come on, I'm not afraid of heaven and earth, and I am afraid you won't succeed. Mu Lian, an old man in the shape of Killing Mat, patted the bear's cavity, looking like a heroic dry cloud. Many veterans in the presence of Ling all looked at him. Then it is knowing Isho. That's right. This is the one they know. The ruffian Colonel Mu Lian. Just looking at Luo Lin, who appeared out of thin air behind Mu Lian. All the veterans couldn't help grinning. What's your expression like? Feel the subtle smiles from former Marine mates. Mu Lian, the old man who killed Matt, couldn't help trembling. I just felt chilled all over. Unconsciously, there was a bad premonition in my heart. Next moment, a large hand fell on his shoulder without warning. At the same time, there was a calm and familiar voice. Boy Mu Lian, I haven't seen you for decades, you are really getting more and more powerful. Roland smiled. Quote exclamation mark. Quote. This voice is listening to a familiar figure that I haven't heard in decades. The old man Mu Lian's tall body couldn't help shaking suddenly. It is no longer the heroic style that he used to be. Cold to Chinfuji. Old Lao, boss. Mu Lian's voice trembled unconsciously. With stiff steps, he turned around little by little. Finally, face to face. The eyes of Mu Lian, an old man who was already in his 60th year, were instantly red. Once again, he saw this face that he had been looking for most of his life. Still as always. Exactly the same as 36 years. Nothing has changed. Boss. Mu Lian's tall body trembled unconsciously. That's because of the excitement between the chest and abdomen like a volcanic eruption. Ha ha ha, I know it. How can a character like you, boss, leave so silently? Boss, you are truly immortal. Mu Lian's excited laughter echoed in the sky. Then it detonated the emotions of other veterans in the field. Do you still need to say this, Mu Lian? We all believe it. In this world, who can accept our boss? That's it, Boss Luo Lin is the freest person on this sea. ... The veterans in the field shouted excitedly. Really? Appeared. Fishman Samble, who has supported each other for decades with Mu Lian, his mouth is wide open and his eyes are round. Without blinking, he watched Marine's gathering on the shore. At this moment, when he saw that Luo Lin who appeared alive in his sight, Samble had no more doubts in his heart. It turned out that Mu Lian felt right. The man in the corner of the newspaper photo is really the man in the legend. It's really the Marine, the legend that disappeared. It's the one that Captain Roger, Deputy Captain Rayleigh and the others will never forget. Big brother, Fishman Samble was shocked. Yo. Just then, another familiar voice came from not far away. I thought there was something fun to watch, isn't this Mu Lian and Samble? Kick. A white-haired old man wearing a pair of slippers, Rayleigh, the king of Pluto, greeted with a big smile. Mu Lian, Samble. Crocus also widened his eyes in shock, and his old face gradually showed excitement and joy. Yo hoo hoo, Mr. Mu Lian, Samble, it's been a long time no see. Brooke also laughed. Because only a handful of bones remained. His skeleton face showed no emotional changes. But the trembling voice still revealed the excitement and shock in his heart. Crocus, Brooke, and Vice Captain Rayleigh hid in the sea, and Samble's eyes widened and rounded, who was watching secretly. Since the Sabayati incident that day, he and Mu Lian conducted a detailed analysis of the recent major news in the sea. It is also from this that I learned about the great activity of Brooke and Crocus in South Blue. 4. These two partners appear here. Fishman Samble was mentally prepared. It's just that he never imagined that even Rayleigh was on this ship. Isn't he this Rayleigh? Ha ha ha, as expected, he really deserves to be my boss. Even Deputy Captain Rayleigh is impressed by the boss's personal charm. Mu Lilian laughed. I'm not, don't talk nonsense. Hearing this, Rayleigh hurriedly denied it 3 times. The happy smile on the old face then solidified. Ha ha ha. The shriveled appearance of old rival Rayleigh. The veterans all laughed. This time, everyone lives under the same roof. Because Luo Lin was in the middle, the two sides were at peace. Just because of the opposition between Marine and pirates in the past. They actually don't like each other. It's impossible to be really close friends, and have a happy drinking banquet together. Now, with the appearance of Mu Lian, an old fritter who has been on both sides. Veterans and Rayleigh et al. Has also undergone some subtle changes. Luo Lin, I can't control the matter of Mu Lian who defected and became a pirate before, you can control it yourself. Zephyr is qualified to say this. Which bastard is he, and which pot can't be opened and lifted? Wait, what did Roland say? Mu Lian's mouth was like a cannonball, ready to scold. However, when he saw that the speaker was Zephyr, the swear words that Mu Lian had not spoken came to an abrupt end. As the Adam's apple rolls, the throat returns to the stomach. Alas, Mr. Zephyr, why are you here? Mu Lian's eyes widened, and he lost his temper instantly. You just found out. It's really dull, stupid Mu Lian. Ha ha ha. The veterans burst out laughing. Hey hey hey. Mu Lian laughed a few times. Mr. Mu Lian. Grandpa Samble. Just then, 2 more familiar voices sounded from the shore not far away. Ling's Mu Lian and Fishman Samber were stunned again. The voice seems to be Lucio. Nope. Mulian and Samble looked at their juniors not far away. A look of shock appeared on his face involuntarily. Why are you here? Why are you two little guys here with the boss? ... Chapter 308. The curtain of the era is about to open. Open black lens bracket 2/4 for order. Close black lens bracket. Mr. Mulian. Grandpa Samble. Luffy, who finally arrived, and other juniors rushed out. 2 figures. Haired swordsman Lucio and Fishman young Nobel. Lucio. Nob. Why are you two boys here? And Fishman Samble showed their shocked expressions for the first time today. The black-haired swordsman Lucio's face was flushed with excitement, and he ran to Roland and Mulian's side immediately. First, he bowed respectfully to Luo Lin, and then looked at his teacher. Mr. Mulian, in fact, not long ago Mr. Luo Lin saved us. The black-haired swordsman Lucio scratched his head embarrassedly. They began to tell Mulian about their experience since they went to sea, and the whole story of their encounter with Roland. Grandpa Samble, Lucio and I encountered the Don Quixote family on the Great Route. That's why we are here now, wanting to do our part for Mr. Roland. On the other hand, Fishman young Nobel also told Samber about this experience. For a long time, Muliansai finally digested his disciple's experience. Ha ha ha, good, your luck is really good enough, so you can meet the boss. Mulian patted the disciple's shoulder and laughed. Thanks to Mr. Luo Lin for taking care of these two boys during this time. Fishman Samble also stepped forward solemnly, saluting and thanking him. Roland nodded calmly. Look around. What are you doing here? Go back and continue the banquet. Roland grinned. Oh. A group of veterans surrounded the newly joined Mulian and walked to the Banquet Dome restaurant. Fishman Samble on the other side also followed Rayleigh, Brooke and others who had reunited after a long absence, and returned laughing and talking. Work in a while. Only the stunned little girl, the Vitality Straw Hat and others were left on the coast. You guys, the little girls are too, what are you still doing? Luo Lin smiled and looked at Vivi, Nami and others. Rolling brother, are those two people also legendary? Captain Mulian, Fishman Samble, are they also crew members of the Roger Pirates? Vivi and Robin sighed in unison. Agaga, the legendary beings have gathered again. If this continues, is it possible that the Roger Pirates will also be reorganized here? The girl Alice widened her amazed beautiful eyes and murmured unconsciously. 600 million Charlotte snags, and the 1 billion drought that sank to the bottom of the ocean that day, sent out. Nami noticed the gift brought by the two of them. Who was shivering because of the 4 emperors, not long ago, now looks at the capable cadres under the 4 emperors, her eyes have turned into the shape of money. Go back, Nami, let Sabo and the others collect these 2 gifts for you first. Roland greeted. Oh, here we come. Nami replied obediently and quickly followed. Hey, Sabo, let's go back to. A root in his mouth, clean bones, full of thinking about the banquet, Luffy urged. Luffy, why are you still thinking about the banquet? The 2 people before were legends, the crew of One Piece King of Pirates has appeared again. Ah hey. The long-nosed Usopp danced with excitement. Ah, those 2 people are like Uncle Rayleigh, are they partners of One Piece King of Pirates? Luffy, who had realized it in hindsight, finally reacted, and his eyes widened in shock. Did you just react? Zoro, Sanji, Frankie and others are all down. Ha ha ha, Zoro, Frankie, please take Snag and Jack down first, there are some things I need to explain here. Sabo smiled. Zoro and the others nodded in agreement, and proceeded to carry the 2 of Jack. Ace, if you have any questions, ask them now. At Ace, who was dumbfounded beside him, shocked beyond measure. Ah. Ace nodded knowingly. Take a deep breath. He suppressed the tremor in his heart. Sabo, tell me, that man named Roland, what the hell is he? Ace asked, the biggest confusion in his heart with a serious face. Before coming to Waesung, Ace is very interested in the identity of the master of this city. Swordsman Isho, Thor Enel, and even the retired swordsman Brook were all born for him and became his strength. Come to this city. Attended that banquet. Ace saw more and was more shocked. Marine Chief Instructor Zephyr, the veterans who were suspected of Marine, Rayleigh, the Pluto, and even the Golden Lion Shaki. Now there are two other legends. Among them, the old man named Mulien was familiar with both Marine and Rayleigh. One after another, the legends of the older generation appear one after another. Created this epic gathering. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who can believe it? And the person who gathered all these incredible sights was that. The man who looked too young. A man with such power should not be a nameless person. Falling down with Ace's inquiry, Waesung Coast fell into a moment of silence. Woo, a cool sea breeze blew past. Ha ha. Sabo grins Isho. Okay, Ace, listen up, that Mr. Rollins, my mentor, he's, Sabo said with a frenzied expression. Quote, exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Ace murmured the word unconsciously. Crash la la, the world is moving. A cheerful and lively banquet. With the addition of the lively ruffian Colonel Mulien, the atmosphere became more and more enthusiastic. Worked as Marine and on Roger's pirate ship. With Mulien in the middle, the gap between the veterans and Rayleigh and others was also virtually reduced. It's no longer as obvious as it was at first. The joyous banquet at Waesung Dome restaurant lasted all day and night. It's still going on now. The highest floor of the Waesung headquarters building. Suit and leather shoes, Morgans, dressed like a bird, adjusted the bow tie around his neck and knocked on the door. Quietly waiting for the first summon from, come in. Roland Road. Yes. Morgans responded excitedly and pushed the door in. The spacious top office, there is an only Luo Lin. Mr. Roland, I don't know what order I have to summon this subordinate this time. Morgans asked with humility and expectation. Roland nodded. Push the box in front of you. This is a devil fruit. Morgans was taken aback. Introduce this fruit to the world. Chapter 309 Ocean Overlord Rocks. Open black lens bracket 3/4 for order close black lens bracket. Introduce this fruit to the world. Waesung Headquarters Building, the highest office. Roland spoke calmly, and pushed the box containing the devil fruits in the direction of Morgans. Introduction. Fruit. Hearing Roland's words, a big question mark appeared on Morgan's face. Is this my mission this time? Morgans thought. He subconsciously took out the camera phone bug in his arms. Took a few close-ups of the special devil fruit in the box. His brows furrowed even more. As one of the Dark Kings of the Underworld, it is impossible for News King Morgans to have not seen the devil fruits manual. He is even more familiar with the devil fruits recorded in the illustrated book. Even his contributions are included. But for the boxy devil fruit in front of me, Morgans has never seen it. It's not surprising that they don't know each other. The world is so big after all. The origin, quantity, and type of devil fruits are still a mystery. Even the devil fruits Pokédex only records a small part of it. But since I want to report on this fruit, then you need to know the basic information about the fruit. What's more, to be able to pay special attention to a big man like Luo Lin, the fruits of the report are definitely not ordinary things. There must be some huge secret in it. Thinking of this, Morgans suddenly raised his head with a look of hope. Mr. Roland, please also inform your subordinates. Although this devil fruit looks similar to the Rubik's Cube fruit recorded in the illustrated book, it is still very different, so it should not be that. That's right. Morgans asked. Indeed. Roland's mysterious Isho. This devil fruit belongs to Paramesha, and it's called Paramesha Crush Fruit. Everything crushes. Paramesha. Smash the fruit. Everything smashes. Morgans murmured unconsciously. "Wa la la," was just a random murmur. Morgans was intuition that a gust of wind was blowing towards his face, impacting his whole body. "Mr. Roland, this crushed fruit, it's past. Has it ever been glorious in the past?" Morgans's expression gradually became excited. As a professional journalist, his intuition told him that Luo Lin suddenly asked him to report on this fruit. There must be a deeper meaning behind it. The previous owner of this ability was Rox. Roland spoke calmly. "Rox." Morgans was taken aback. "Rox." Next moment, Morgans's voice suddenly increased more than an octave. A pair of birds' eyes suddenly widened. On the bird's face, there was an uncontrollable expression of extreme shock and unbelievable color, and the wings of, flickering, Morgans fluttered unconsciously. Taking his body to the sky, he finally hid in the corner of the ceiling. Shivering, the atmosphere in the office fell into absolute silence. For a long time, Morgans's inner shock calmed down a little. "Sorry." Morgans got down on one knee. His body was still shaking uncontrollably. "No one else knows about the name, Rox. He, Morgans, is the clearest. Not just for the convenience of journalists. It's even more so after recognizing Roland's identity on Sky Island that day. Morgans has been collecting reports on the major events of the year from all over the world. I want to piece together and fill in the history that disappeared decades ago in that era. In that period of history, the character of Rox could not be bypassed no matter what. Rox Zebek, the only overlord of the sea 10 years ago. Rox pirates under his command dominated the sea. In that era, no one could match it. The more in-depth understanding. Morgans was even more horrified. Especially when he found out that now, 3 of the 4 sea emperors who dominate the New World, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, Lot Linlin, Kaido of the Beasts were all once under the hegemon. Now 3 of the 4 emperors, plus the legendary flying pirate Golden Lion Shiki, the greedy Captain John, the Axe. Morgans murmured unconsciously the information about the sea overlord that he had found some time ago. "Mr. Roland, Rox, the one from decades ago. The master of the sea, Rox, he is relying on the power of this crushed fruit to lead that monster army." Morgan's pair of bird eyes flashed with shock and excitement. "It seems that I don't need to explain anything. If you already know, then things will be much simpler." Roland grinned isho. "Go, Morgans." "Yes, yes." Morgans shouted excitedly. "Today. Just today. He wants to spread this big news that is enough to shake the sea to the corners of the world." The sky near Alabasta, Poolingaling. Countless news birds fluttered their wings, coming and going from the hot air balloon headquarters. Fly to the world with reports that are enough to shock the world. Naturally, the first to be reported are still the people of Waisung. Waisung Banquet Dome Restaurant. The joyous banquet that lasted for 2 days and 1 night continued. Hey, everyone, stop drinking first. Look at this, the boss is making a big move." A veteran waving a few newspapers with the scent of ink, shouted in shock. "Let me see what." The new ruffian colonel quickly grabbed the newspaper. Drunk-eyed old eyes swept across the report. Then his eyes widened suddenly. Paramesha crushed fruit. Last time, the fruit of that terrifying sea lord Rox. That, the most fierce Paramesha crushed fruit. In the hands of the boss. ... The originally bustling banquet hall fell into a moment of dead silence at this moment. Next moment, a louder uproar broke out. "Ha ha ha ha, this is really unprecedented big news. The history that was buried by the government 36 years ago is finally coming to the surface. The boss is finally going to announce his return to the world." "Of course it is, ha ha ha." The ruffian Colonel Mulien couldn't help laughing loudly. Boss Roland is a hero. Of course, the appearance of a hero needs the biggest stage. The best foil. 36 years ago, the despicable world government buried everything of the boss. Now, the boss is back. What else can you do? The legend will return. Chapter 310 The big news that shook the world. Open black lens bracket 4/4 for subscription. Close black lens bracket. After 36 years, the legend of heroes will finally return. Let everything be revealed to the world. I want to see how the world government can cover the sky this time. After so many years of silence, this time we can finally ask the government for an explanation. Waesung Dome Banquet Restaurant. 49 veterans, including the ruffian Colonel Mu Lien, laughed heartily. Mr. Zephyr. This. Mr. Zephyr, are all the reports on this news true? The one from decades ago, the rocks, the master of the sea. And the ones under his command. Ain, who also saw the news report, widened a pair of beautiful eyes. The whole person was shocked by this big news to the point where it couldn't be added. So much so that the words are incomplete. Ha ha ha, of course it's true. Little ones, get ready for battle. It won't be calm again. Zephyr laughed and clenched his fists. High fighting spirit. Dome Banquet Restaurant on the other side. Belongs to the area of Hades. Rayleigh, Straw Hat Luffy, Sabo, Ace and others. The uproar was also rushing into the sky. The rocks of the sea. It's unbelievable, there used to be such a thing. Sabo's eyes widened, and his face was in disbelief. How could such a thing happen? Father Whitebeard, Kaido, and Auntie used to be partners of the same pirate group. How strong is this ocean overlord rocks? It can make so many ocean superpowers willing to join. Ace was also shocked beyond measure. The news reports I saw today revealed the big news of the past, and it turned his worldview upside down. The 4 emperors Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, Lot Linlin and the 4 Emperor Kaido of the Beasts, 3 of the 4 emperors are actually the crew of that rocks. That rocks is more than One Piece. King of Pirates, is it great? The long-nosed Usopp screamed with all his strength. Grandpa Samble, is this all true? Fishman Youth Nobel looked at Fishman Samble. Uncle Rayleigh. Mr. Brooke. Uncle Crocus. Straw Hats Luffy, Zoro, Sanji and the others all looked at Rayleigh and the others. As a legend from the past. They are the most powerful people on the field. No. Whoever has the most say in the scene. Naturally. Hey, Golden Lion Shiki. This news report says that you used to be one of the army commanders under that rocks. Crocodile, who has always been ruthless, now has shock and disbelief written all over his face. At the silent Golden Lion Shiki, without blinking, accompanied by his shouting, he fell. Straw Hat Luffy, Sabo, Ace, Zoro, etc. All Golden Lion Shiki. Gia ha ha ha. Under the collective gaze of the crowd, Golden Lion Shiki grinned Isho and let out a deep laugh. Rocks. Captain, that's a long-lost name. Golden Lion Shiki sighed with emotion. Wow, when I heard the word, Captain, from the mouth of Golden Lion Shiki, there was an uproar again in the audience. Yo ho ho ho, is it finally about to start? Brooke smiled deeply. A big event that can affect the times is about to happen. Fishman Samble laments. In a short time, here, this city will become the center of the times. Now that we have chosen to board the ship, we must also prepare for the arrival of the bloody storm. Crocus looked determined. That day, 24 years ago, on that last island, Roger had said that if he was alive, it wasn't the right time. The sons of prophecy, the kings of the seas not yet born, as long as that guy is there, then everything will definitely end at that time. Roger, what you regretted in the past, let us do it for you this time, and witness it for you. Pluto Rayleigh has a smile at the corner of his mouth and a crystal at the corner of his eyes. Waesung Banquet Dome Restaurant is bustling and bustling. On the top floor of the headquarters building was also not calm. Koala and other little girls who also saw the news report, they didn't care about dressing up and came here for the first time, wanting to ask for proof. Brother Rolling, that stupid bird of Morgan's, is this report true? It's not a random fabrication. Nami doubted. Yes, the 3 of the 4 emperors, and the legend like Lao Jin, turned out to be partners. Then the guy who commanded them. The guy named Rox, how strong is he? Vivi is also full of disbelief. You can ask Shaki about that. Roland smiled. Sister Shaki. What does it have to do with Sister Shaki? The little girls all looked puzzled. Actually, this Rox used to be my captain. Shaki took a deep breath under the puzzled collective gaze of the little girls. Reveal this great secret. Alas. Alas. The little girls stretched out their amazement. The shocking look on Zhang's pretty face instantly became even worse. Sister Shaki, used to belong to the Rox pirates. Koala murmured intermittently. Agaga, then that means, Sister Shaki and the 4 emperors Whitebeard. They used to be partners. The girl Alice was shocked. Shaki crossed the crowd of dumbfounded little girls. Go straight to Roland's desk. Devil fruit that was randomly placed on the table, my pupils shrank. Even breathing is stagnant. This is Captain Rox, Paramesha crushing fruit. Shaki murmured unconsciously. His eyes stared unblinkingly at the fruit in front of him. As if it was a black hole whirlpool that was going to devour everything she had. Looking like this, do you want to eat? Luo Lin's voice was like Huang Zhangdalu, awakening Shaki from the abyss of the black hole. The body couldn't help but quiver, and there was a little panic on his face. Who wants to eat? Shaki shook his head again and again. For a long time. Are you serious? Shaki spoke solemnly. What do you say? Roland grinned Isho, showing his white teeth. It's really coming. Linlin and Kaido, even Whitebeard. Shaki said solemnly. Exactly what I want. ... The wind of the sea blows. So, the world is shaking. Chapter 311 The sea is moving. Open black lens bracket 1/4 ask for a full order close black lens bracket. Emerging port city of Alabasta, Waisung City is the origin. The wind of the sea rises again. Turned into a stormy wave and quickly swept the entire sea. The whole world was shaken by it. East Blue. A certain Lois Mine Island. A bald tattooed old man wearing small round sunglasses knocked on the cigarette stick in his hand, and a subtle smile appeared on the old man's face. The Overlord of the Sea Rocks. Such a long-standing name. This sea is really about to start chaos, and the prelude to a more magnificent new era is about to kick off. Brooke, Crocus, and Rayleigh, what are you doing now and who is in charge of this? It must be an unexpected man. I will wait and see. ... West Blue. Flower Kingdom. Hapo Navy Station. With the newsbird came with the newspaper of the World Economic News. The training ground of the Flower Kingdom Hapo Navy suddenly fell into a sea of uproar. Master, what kind of expression do you have? Are all the reports in this newspaper true? Hapo Navy Preparation Pillar Lao Kai asked with a shocked face. How is it possible, brother, how can this kind of thing be true? It must be that stupid bird of Morgan's, it's all made up. Abu shook his head and waved his hands in disbelief. The 4 emperors of the New World, Whitebeard. Hundreds of beasts and the legend of flying from the previous era, the Golden Lion, turned out to be a subordinate of the same person, so that. How powerful is the Ocean Lord Rox? Furthermore, such a powerful overlord, plus the ones under his hands. How did the monsters who ruled the top of the world disappear and who can defeat them? There's some truth to what you're saying, Bu. Lao Kai nodded in agreement. Ocean Overlord Rox is real. Qinzhao, the 12th pillar of the 800 Marines, who had been silent for a long time, spoke quietly. Nani. Abu, who was proud of his own intelligence and reason, was dumbfounded. Master, are you serious? Old Kai also looks like his 3 views have been refreshed. Ah. Qinzhao's eyes gradually deepened. Everything reported in this news is true. This old man was in the New World when he was young, but he witnessed that. The terrifying lineup of the Rocks pirates. Unbelievable. But, Grandpa, I still have the same question. Since the Overlord Rocks has so many monsters under his command, why is there no legend about him in this era? Abu asked incredulously. This is also the common doubt of many new generations in the world today. Of course it's because he was defeated. Rocks, the master of the sea, spread 36 years ago, and even its very existence was covered up by the government. So who is it? Who can defeat such a terrifying lineup? Lao Kai also asked the common voice of many people in the world at this moment. Crunch. That was the sound of Qinzhao gnashing his teeth. Grandpa, what's wrong with you? Kai and Bu were both puzzled. It was the marine heroes who defeated the Rocks, the master of the sea, and ended the Rocks era. All Qinzhao gritted his teeth, his expression ferocious. Marine, hero. Could it be that? Garp. Kai Heibu ignored the plural words in Qinzhao's words, and the first thing that came to mind was Garp's appearance. So both of them had horrified expressions on their faces. Because they finally knew the reason why their grandfather was gnashing his teeth. Grandpa, where are you going? Lao Kai asked. Do you still say that? Of course, go to Alabasta, how can I miss this grand event? Cone of Qinzhao pride and dry cloud. And that, the strongest smashed fruit, although I don't know which idiot, even used this strongest ability as a prize, but this ability is determined by the old man, and this old man will use this ability to personally bury that bastard Garp. Qinzhao said viciously. Not just Flower Kingdom, Hapo Navy led by Qinzhao. South Blue, North Blue, the first half of the Great Route, and even the New World. Where the world economic news has gone. Countless sea heroes and powerhouses are all moved by the wind. In order to have a glimpse of the style of the Going Clock Tower. In order to get the legendary strongest devil fruit prize. In order to get that. The ability to crush the fruit of terror that once created the overlord of the sea, they scrambled to Alabasta. The sea is moving. The Great Route, the original Gaia Island. Pirate Town Mock Town. Massacre, a few months ago. Event. This famous pirate town has since declined. With the relocation of the shops in the town, it was completely abandoned. Especially recently. Once again something horribly strange has happened in this town. A dark, cold fog hung over the town. Zombies and evil spirits came from the town in the dense fog from time to time. Extremely infiltrating. Hee hee hee. There was a gloomy laughter in the gloomy town. Moria, Sama, what are you laughing at? Are all the reports in this newspaper fake? Huh, if it's fake, it's good if it's fake, if it's true. The Moria pirate group entrenched in Mock Town, Princess Mononoke Perona patted the bear's breast which was fluctuating because of shock. The master of the sea, the Rocks pirates, certainly existed. Shichibukai Gecko Moria Road. Yeah. Princess Mononoke Perona's heart hadn't let go, but Moria's words rose to her throat again. A pair of big eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets in shock. Lord Moria, you said that the Rocks are real. Who is it that is capable of defeating such a luxurious lineup? The stocky hogbuck exclaimed. Let's put aside the unknown Rocks, just the people listed in this newspaper, the 4 emperors Whitebeard. Kai, plus the golden lion Shiki who rivaled Whitebeard and Roger. If these people unite, even the world government will not be able to check and balance them. Who knows? Moria's eyes narrowed in Vivi. Involuntarily, the man who took away the base camp that he had worked hard for 10 years on that day appeared in his mind unconsciously. Of the heroes who ruined the Rocks, the master of the sea. The veins on Moria's forehead gradually twitched. Perona, Hogbach, get ready. What to prepare? Perona was puzzled. Of course it is to capture the strongest devil fruit, as long as you have this strongest ability in your hands, no matter what. Kaido or that hero, all to die. Chapter 312 The Remorse of Gorosei, 5 Elders. Trap. It must be a trap. An uninhabited island on the Great Route. Ugly deformed, fat man, Blackbeard Marshal Teach shouted hysterically. Gudong gudong, a whole bottle of wine was swallowed by Blackbeard. Bang, wine bottle burst. Fragments scattered. Ziahaha, I am sure this is a trap set by that bastard. Blackbeard laughed wildly. Captain Teach. Fighting champion Jesus Burgess looked at Blackbeard in shock. Ziahahaha, are you doubting me, Burgess? Blackbeard asked. No, how could it be? The fighting champion shook his head and waved his hands. In this world, the same devil fruit ability does not exist at all, that. The most ferocious smashing ability I have seen in that man, so the smashing fruit reported in this news is definitely a fake. The man who killed Lafayette, he must be planning some huge conspiracy. Blackbeard said for sure. Captain Teach, since this devil fruit is fake, then the ocean overlord rocks and these appalling things mentioned in this news are also fake. Fighting champion Jesus Burgess asked with wide, open eyes. Shut up. Blackbeard suddenly burst out. The blushing, thick-necked roared furiously, looking at the abnormal performance of his own captain. The fighting champion immediately shrank his neck and kept silent. Van Auger and Reaper Poison didn't dare to stiffen their bodies and didn't dare to make a sound. Ziahaha, how can a fake be fake, idiot? Blackbeard laughed nervously. Rox Zebek, the master of the sea, and the commanders of the monster army he led are all real. He is the supreme existence who is truly qualified to be the king of the world. Blackbeard's ugly black face showed extreme fanaticism. Holy Land Mariajoy. This is a dream city. It is also the worst sin in the world. At this moment, a splendid central hall of Mariajoy. The 5 elders who represent the highest power in the world, Gorosei, 5 elders, all face sinking like water. Damn, what the hell is going on? That murderous ability, Rock's fruit-crushing ability has not been inherited by that bastard, why is it reappearing? Gorosei, 5 elders, with blonde beards, spoke grimly. In this world, it is impossible for 2 of the same abilities to appear. This is an unchanging law. This must be a trap set by that man. The sword-wielding warrior Lao Xing said solemnly. Yes, for ordinary people, it is true, but that bastard is different, he is like the world, whether it is the unprecedented dual fruit ability person or the immortal body. The old star with the scar on the bald head spoke. There was a dead silence in the hall for a moment. Perhaps, is there, this possibility, that man didn't get the ability by eating the crushed fruit back then, but obtained this ability through other means, and the fruit reported now as the genuine product that is truly regenerated. The old star with curly aristocratic hair guessed. Indeed. Impossible. If this is the case, then we must go to the tiger's mouth to grab a meal. Since that bastard used this fruit as a prize, let's go get it, use his ability to balance him, it will be very interesting. Speaking of which, the world's highest powers in the hall all laughed. You gentlemen. Wearing a dark blue suit, the old star, who had both whitebeards up to his waist, finally spoke. Right now, the focus of our attention is not on this fruit, but on the history that has been buried by us. Now it's the Ocean Lord rocks, but I know, it's just the beginning. 36 years ago, the Battle of the Valley of the Gods and the events after that cannot be concealed for long. When the voice of the old star in the dark blue suit fell, the room fell into absolute silence again. If all the events of the year were made public, the worst would happen. Marine must be split. After all, that bastard's influence was too great. Admiral Kizaru, Kuzan, Garp, Sengoku, Crane, Gumir, and Zephyr and veterans who have survived and defected to the past. Those old guys have left Marine, but their descendants and nephews, the Marine elites they have trained and promoted, have already penetrated into every corner of Marine, covering the lower 3 floors of high schools, and wanting to uproot them all is equivalent to direct cleaning. Damn, I knew we should have been ruthless in the first place, anyway. When Rox was dead, we should have done a thorough cleaning of the Marine's interior and killed the Bastards faction. Yeah, if we had killed all the Bastards' subordinates in Marine, there would be no such thing now. The world's highest power in the temple, the Gorosei 5 elders are all remorseful. Marine headquarters, Marineford. The whole world is shaking because of this report produced by the World Economic News. The Marine headquarters, which is the origin of justice, is no exception. Mr. Daikon, Mr. Daikon. In the Battle of Thousand Sails Island, one was lucky to be rescued by Luo Lin, who jumped 2 levels in a row, and the young Lai Luo, who was promoted to sergeant, caught up with Commodore Daikon not far away. Mr. Daikon, is the incident reported in this newspaper true? Everyone is arguing now. Lai Luo asked with a shocked expression, hoping to learn the truth from the officer's mouth. Boy Lai Luo, it's useless for you to ask me this question, because I'm also completely at a loss. So Mr. Daikon, Suru Vice Admiral told us not long ago that Marine actually has another hero, the same hero as Garp Vice Admiral, do you know this? Another hero. Commodore Daikon's shocked eyes widened, but he still just shook his head blankly. Similar conversations were staged one after another in the Marine headquarters. Ling's entire Marine headquarters was enveloped in a shocking uproar. Chapter 313 Whitebeard, Ant, and Beast's Contact, 3/4 request. The sun goes down. Night is about to come. Marine Headquarters Dome Restaurant. After a day of hard training, the sailors gathered in 2s and 3s. The young faces were full of shock. The hustle and bustle rang out. For this chaotic situation, even Marine's most stern officer ignored it. Because even they themselves, because of what they saw today, the big news was shocking beyond comparison. Like most young sailors, they are also very curious about the Rox pirates buried in history, and another lost hero in their Marine. At this moment, those who can answer this question for the new generation of young sailors are also gathered in the dining room. Mr. Garp, Mr. Kuzan, Momoshige Vice Admiral, you 3 definitely know something, right? Smoker stared at Garp, Gion and Kuzan facing him with a serious look. Ah la la, don't put on such a scary expression, Smoker, come, eat meat, eat meat. Admiral Kuzan casually threw a big piece of flesh to Smoker. Smoker caught it, taking a nasty bite. Leave that aside, but Mr. Garp, do you know what Mr. Sengoku is going to do next? Smoker spoke again. This time, the inexplicable Wachung in Alabasta is much bigger than the last time in Going Township. Another Marine Rear Admiral in the room frowned. Rox Pirates, I still shudder when I think of this name. Marine's Model Vice Admiral, the always smiling Vice Admiral Yamakaji's tall body trembled involuntarily, and the smile on his face subsided slightly. Even Mr. Yamakaji, how terrifying the Ocean Lord Rox is. The new generation of rear admirals in the field couldn't help but be shocked again and again. At that time, the name Rox was synonymous with horror. Even I was just a child at the time. Although I didn't see it with my own eyes, I heard the horror of Rox more than once from my dad's mouth. And the hero who defeated the terrifying Rox pirates. Speaking of which, Vice Admiral Momonga looked up at Garp. Speaking of which, Mr. Garp's heroic name only spread after that battle. Mr. Garp is amazing. Even that, the 3-4 emperors, the Golden Lion, John and other big pirates from the outside world, the extremely terrifying Rox pirates were defeated. The new generation of naval officers and generals in the field suddenly exclaimed again and again. Ha ha ha, this is not the credit of me alone. In that war, Marine invested all of its strength, and Roger, the bastard, also helped a lot, and... Speaking of which, Garp's voice couldn't help but become lower. That guy is the biggest hero in the Battle of God's Island. Nani? Roger. Is that One Piece King of Pirates Roger? Unbelievable, One Piece king of pirates Roger has teamed up with us Marine. New generation Marine generals are in an uproar again. Their attention was so focused on Garp's first half that they missed Garp's last sentence. Of course. Not everyone didn't hear it either. Such as the informed Gion, Kuzan. Vice Admiral such as Momonga and Yamakaji who know the existence of another hero. In addition, there is Tai Hanhan Smoker. Mr. Garp. Just when Tai Hanhan Smoker couldn't hold back his curiosity and wanted to ask questions irritably. Vice Admiral Momonga spoke first. Mr. Garp, I want to know where Daddy has gone. Dad and those. After the uncles and Mr. Zephyr left the Marine headquarters, there was no news. As a son, I am really worried. Vice Admiral Momonga frowned, a look of concern on his face. Ha ha ha, Alfred, it's all right, that old boy might be drinking happily there right now. Garp waved his hand indifferently. Vice Admiral Momonga. Dad, they won't be in that Watchung now, right? Vice Admiral Momonga asked quietly. The atmosphere in the room froze as he spoke. The owner of that Watchung won't really be. Vice Admiral Momonga just wanted to keep guessing and rhetorically. However. Just then. Abrupt mutation. The piercing siren sounded throughout the Marine headquarters. A striking red alert lights up the night sky. What happened? Why is the siren so loud? I have never seen such a strong warning from headquarters. I only heard such an alarm 22 years ago when the Golden Lion Shiki hit. Could it be that the four emperors are going to attack the headquarters? Marine generals in the house shouted in shock. The door of the smack box was violently pushed open. Outside the door, the green-haired Commodore Brittany had a look of astonishment on his face. Mr. Garp, Kuzan Admiral, Vice Admiral, something is bad. Mr. Sengoku ordered everyone to urgently gather. The green-haired Commodore Branu screamed in surprise. Blano, calm down, what's going on? Gion Vivi frowned. The four emperors of the New World, Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, Lot Linlin, and Kaido of the Beasts, they are in contact with each other. Green-haired Commodore Branu yelled. What did you say? ... A dazzling, huge lightning flashed across the dark sky. Rumbling thunder followed one after another. Shook the sea. Made the sea 1,000 waves. Flapping the reef on the edge of the island. This is the kingdom of Dressrosa in the New World. The second floor of the Royal Palace Heights. Doflamingo is independent from the very apex of the Royal Palace. Facing the dark clouds and thunder and lightning that filled the sky, he let out a wanton and unassuming sound of laughter. Below, Barrow and other members of the Don Quixote family all looked at their young master with worried expressions. Kacha, Doflamingo was still laughing wildly. The most magnificent curtain of this era is about to open, and a good show is about to be staged. The dispatch of the emperors who rule the top of the world is inevitable. Kaido or even Whitebeard, even if you are a hero, how can you fight the emperors of the sea by yourself? The times have long since changed. Chapter 314 The Shock of the Big Mom Pirates, 4 quarters. Universal Totland. This is one of the 4 emperors of the New World Sea, the base camp of thieves. A peaceful cake island, shrouded in the singing and dancing of various creatures every day. Seemed a little weird, but it was unusually happy. 4 days have passed since the news that Xing Snag was captured by an unknown person. Time can fade everything. For Lot Linlin, who has many children. Losing 1 or 2 is not a big problem. If the son is gone, he will continue to give birth. Even a powerful general. No. Now that Snug was arrested after his defeat, his general star has been stripped by Charlotte Linlin. 4 generals become 3 generals. Cake Island Central Castle. Sunny afternoon tea garden. Today's 4 emperors Lot Linlin is still in a beautiful mood. Happy to enjoy the daily afternoon tea time. It is also planning the next expedition. This time, Lot Linlin is going to send the family's highest masterpiece, Charlotte Katakuri, the head of the star, with a reward of over 1 billion, to go to Alabasta and bring her back to the Going Clock Tower. Mom, big news coming. The 19th son of the Charlotte family, the cheese minister, Montdor, rushed into the central courtyard in a panic. Montdor, what a proper way to shout. Charlotte parent-legged star Smoothie scolded. Montdor, it's time for Mom's delight. I'll talk about it later. Charlotte family eldest son, Candy Minister Perros Perot. Smoothie, Brother Perros, this is really a big event. A big event related to Mom. Charlotte Montdor with a face full of shock. The big thing about Mom. All the thieves ministers participating in the afternoon tea party could not help but look suspicious. Well, let's talk about it. Montdor, what big event has something to do with me, if it's deliberately exaggerating? Charlotte Linlin's big eyes flashed red, and the meaning was very obvious. If it is not a really important event, the consequences will be severe. Gudong. Montdor swallowed hard and nodded affirmatively. Mom, it's still the one in paradise. Alabasta Kingdom, that Waisung castle with the Going Clock Tower has something amazing again. Charlotte Montdor rode. Montdor, what the hell is it? You, say it. Stop chattering. A group of officials and ministers urged. The look on Charlotte Linlin's face also brightened. It's the devil fruit, the most fierce and strongest Paramesha smashing fruit. The owner of the city said that this fruit is the final prize of the martial arts tournament held for the city's opening. Charlotte Montdor yelled. The atmosphere of the afternoon tea garden was stagnant. Next second, there was an uproar. Montdor, what kind of big news are you? It's just a devil fruit. Charlotte Opera looked ridiculous. I've never heard of Paramesha crushed fruit being the most ferocious and strongest. Even if it's a joke, it's enough, Montdor. Long-legged star Smoothie looks ill. Montdor, you dare to disturb Mom's tea time, you are crazy. Many cadres and ministers present were all scolded. Strangely though, the oldest people in the field, Lot Linlin, Katakuri, Perospero and others all said nothing. Gudong, Charlotte Montdor swallowed again. This devil fruit, the former ability of this crushed fruit is Mother's former captain, the master of the sea rocks. Montdor raised his throat and shouted with all his strength. The whole afternoon tea garden fell into dead silence again. That sang cheerfully, their eyes widened in horror at this moment, and they couldn't make a sound. 40 years ago, the master of the sea rocks, his crew includes the current 4 emperors Whitebeard Edward Newgate, the 4 emperors Kaido of the Beasts, and our mother. In addition, the flying pirate Golden of the previous era Lion Shiki is also one of the Sea Lord's subordinates, and the great pirate Captain John, Silver Axe, Akoku. Charlotte Montdor confided these powerful names in a trembling voice. So, the atmosphere in the afternoon tea garden became more and more condensed. This kind of thing. How is that possible? Mom and that Kaido and the monster Whitebeard used to be on the same ship. Mates. There's even that Golden Lion Shiki. Unbelievable. What kind of monster can command such an extremely powerful pirate group? The Lord of the Sea Rocks. Why haven't we heard of it at all? ... And ministers of the thief were full of shock and disbelief on their faces. He murmured unconsciously. Because everything about that man, about that sea overlord has been buried on that island. Charlotte Katakuri whispered. Brother Katakuri, do you know about this? And Peros brother, Daifuku brother, do you know that too? Everyone looked at the big brother in shock. Ah, the master of the sea rocks, he was the most terrifying existence in the sea at that time. Perospero also sighed with a shocked expression. If it weren't for the 2 bastard heroes of Marine, plus the spoilers of the Roger pirates, the world wouldn't be like this. That terrifying man is even the king of the world. Charlotte Daifuku opened her mouth with shock. Wow! The audience was in uproar again. Ma ma! The laughter of the four emperors Lot Linlin sounded. Rocks! Captain, it's been a long time. I can't believe that after so many years, the name Rocks will spread across the sea again. Captain, you should rest in peace. Charlotte Linlin laughed. Don't worry, Captain, with your strongest fruit ability, I will help you find the best air, crushing the fruit, I will make it. Don't worry, Mom, this time I will also go with Daifuku and Oven. We will definitely bring back the going bell tower and that crushed fruit to Mom. Parasparrow volunteered. Parasparrow, Mother is very happy to say that, but you are too weak. Charlotte Linlin spoke straight. Mom, come on, give me the phone bug, I'm going to contact that bastard Kaido, and by the way, warn the old man Whitebeard, Charlotte Linlin laughed. What? Nani? Chapter 315 Poison Tongue Sister Ulu _ New World Wano-kuni, Onigashima. There was lightning and thunder in the sky, illuminating the huge Isle of Skulls. A large knife of hundreds of meters pierced the front of Skull Island. Under the illumination of the electric light, it reflects the cold and cold light. This is the base camp of the Four Emperors and 100 Beasts Pirates. At this moment, the magnificent Onigashima Underground Skull Palace. The cheerful singing echoes between the small bridges and flowing water. If I get thinner, I'm more handsome, so should I lose weight. That is the third in command of the Beast Pirates, and the Queen of Plague is singing and dancing. Lord Queen, the 6 sons of Linkong are here. One of Queen's killer members reported. 6 sons of the sky, yo. Queen greeted the 6 people on the corridor dozens of meters away. Quack. Several croaking crows flew in the sky. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Ha ha ha, they never ignore me, yo, forget about those jokes. Listening carefully, Queen, who was waiting for his subordinate Linkong 6 to respond, smiled and continued without caring. Ta-ta, a corridor dozens of meters away. 6 sons of Linkong, who were supposed to be subordinate to the Plague Queen, walked silently. There was an invisible aura of ferocity in the air. It seems that the ancient beast predators are traveling. That guy Queen, go to hell, you heard it, he said we were a joke. The youngest of the 6, Yulu T, a long-legged beauty wearing a special mask, cursed with a Lolita accent. Forget it, old lady, haven't you always only cared about fashion or something? 6 sons of the sky, the ancient species of dragon fruit, the spine back, the person with the ability of dragon form opens. You care about me, are you my grandfather? The hot-tempered, poisonous-tongued sister Yulu T sneered. Grandpa, please shut up for me. Peggy 1. Alright, Lulujong, let's go. Among the 6, the tallest, the beastly beast Black Maria, who was like a little giant, smiled and stroked Wuludi's hair. Let's go, Kaido is so eager to call us this time, I'm afraid something big has happened. Fishman Sasaki with a mouth full of sharp teeth and a ferocious appearance opened his mouth. 5 minutes later, Wuluti and other 6 people came to the Hall of Beasts. Yo, the idiots of the 6 sons of the sky, here they come. Bloated, ball-like epidemic Queen twisted the Yanko to enter the door. Queen, you are an idiot, your whole family are idiots, idiots. The poisonous-tongued sister Yuluti closed her eyes and cursed with a cute face. It's still Yuluti with sharp teeth and sharp mouth as always, yo. Pandemic Queen sang and danced like a treasure. Slightly. Yuluti made a face. Pop, the next moment, a newspaper was slapped on the table of Linkong Luzimian. Retreat, Wano-kuni. Completely cut off all contact with the outside world. Even newsbirds never dared to set foot on this land. But as the secret controller of this country, naturally, the beast pirates will not be so stupid as to shut their ears and eyes. They have their own special channels to obtain outside intelligence. This is Mr. Kaido, mission this time. Pandemic Queen Road. The poisonous-tongued Sister Yuluti opened her beautiful eyes with big pupils, and her eyes fell on the news report in front of her. Next moment, those beautiful pair of eyes suddenly tightened. This is... I have never heard of the strongest and fiercest paramesha crushed fruit. The Beauty and Beast Black Maria is suspicious like a little giant. Hey, this is the focus that needs attention. Fingers on the report of the Sea Lord rocks. Kaido, that, Mr. Kaido used to be this man's subordinate. It's not just that mad woman and the monster Whitebeard, they are Mr. Kaido's former partners, it's unbelievable. The flying pirate Golden Lion Shiki, Captain John's treasure, the axe. These people used to be famous pirates in the world. The 6 sons of Linkong were all shocked and shouted, this report is fake. It must be that stupid bird of Morgan's again, make up. The poisonous-tongued Sister Yuluti spoke in shock. Hey, ji Udong. Kaido's drunken laughter came from outside the Hall of Beasts. Drinking again, this stupid captain, why didn't you drink to death? Even if the target is his own captain, Kaido of the Beasts, the terrifying 4 emperors. Yuluti still showed no mercy. Hey, Captain Rocks, don't worry, I will inherit your last little legacy, this crushed fruit, and you can rest in peace in heaven. Kaido of the Beasts walked into the main hall crying and laughing. Rocks, Captain. Could it be that everything written in this report is true? This crushed fruit is really the strongest fruit. It has created a sea overlord. The people of Linkong Luzi couldn't help but scream again. So in the end, since the Rocks bastard is so powerful, which bastard has the ability to end him in the past? Wu Ludi realized this problem, and the shock in her heart was even greater. Blue. Yuludi's question was not answered. The flames of fire of unknown flames lingered all over his body, and he took out the special phone bug in his pocket. Kaido, it's from Wangguo. The fire calamity opened his mouth in a deep voice. Nani? What? Kaido hasn't spoken yet. 6 people, including Queen and Yuluti, were the first to scream in surprise. Each and every one of them widened their eyes in shock. Well, it's Linlin. Stinky old woman, I know it, just connect. Kaido laughed. The phone bug is connected. Ma. From the phone worms came the infiltrative laughter of the 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin. Ling's plague queen, Yuluti and the others all burst into hair unconsciously. Kaido, the last legacy of Captain Rocks, that smashed fruit is mine, you know, The 4 emperors laughed heartily. You're thinking of shit, old woman, I didn't have to take a penny when the family split up, and the benefits were all taken away by the Golden Lion bastards and you. Now it's my turn. Kaido yelled irritably. Kaido was full of grief and indignation when he thought that he was too weak at the beginning, so that he didn't get the slightest benefit from the separation of Hive Island. Well, Kaido, you probably haven't forgotten it, but you still owe me a big favor. That's all in the past. No, that's a great gift that can't be forgotten in my life, even your life is mine. Lot Linlin laughed triumphantly. Bastard stinky old woman. The veins on Kaido's forehead skyrocketed. Mom, Whitebeard is also connected. Well, then bring it here. Kola la. Chapter 316 Whitebeard denies 3 consecutive 2 quarters. New World, Sphinx Islands. This used to be just one of the countless islands in the New World. There is a poor and backward small village on the island. Until one day a few decades ago. This island walks out of a legend. The strongest man in the world, Whitebeard Edward Newgate. Kola la. Of the huge whale ship, the Moby Dick, the 4 emperors Whitebeard laughed loudly. Mighty and gallant, soaring into the sky. There was also a tinge of different emotions mixed in. Unbelievable. Is this kind of thing true? It won't be that stupid bird of Morgan's, making up it. If it's really a nonsense, I'll definitely kill that bird. ... All over the deck of whale boats. The pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates gather in groups, looking at the reports in the hot newspaper that just came out of the hands. Each face is full of shock and disbelief. Captain Jozu, is this true? The members of the 3rd Division all looked at the Captain Diamond Jozu. Captain Vista. The members of the 5th Division also looked at their captain. Even I don't know much about the specific situation of the Rocks Pirates, the overlord of the sea back then, but one thing is certain, that is, the Rocks back then was synonymous with terror on the sea. The captain of the 3rd Division, Diamond Jozu, said with a solemn expression. Dad, were you really a member of the Rocks Pirates? The captain of the 7th Division, Rakyo, who used the meteor hammer, looked at Whitebeard. The atmosphere on the deck fell silent as he asked. The eyes of all the pirates on the Moby Dick all turned to Whitebeard. Under the eyes of the sons. Whitebeard drank the wine in one gulp. Laugh out loud. Nodded. I did spend some time on that ship before because of something. The 4 emperors Whitebeard Edward Newgate admitted frankly. Dad, so this mad mom and that Kaido, and Shiki bastard, were on that ship before too. Buffalo Atmos, the captain of the 13th Division, asked loudly. Whitebeard nodded again. Wow. The whole ship was in uproar again. It turned out to be true. Such a powerful old man actually belonged to this man before. There are 3 of the 4 emperors of the sea now, plus Golden Lion Shiki. Even if you don't count the others, this lineup is really too scary. To be able to command such a force, how powerful is this ocean overlord Rocks? ... The white group pirates on the boat screamed in shock. Kala la la la, little ones, it's not that exaggerated, it was all 30 or 40 years ago, when I was far from reaching my peak, that Golden Lion so is the bastard. And that Lot Linlin, he's just a monster rookie, that's all. As for that kid Kaido. Having said that, Whitebeard shook his head and took a sip of wine to himself. Kaido at that time, among the Rocks monster army, could only be said to be a slightly energetic trash fish, not worth mentioning at all. Even if Whitebeard has already said so. The shock on the face of the white group pirates on the boat still hasn't eased much. Even the original Whitebeard, Ant, Golden Lion and others are far from their peak. But it is not comparable to ordinary strong people. Dad, what happened to this ocean overlord Rocks? Why haven't we heard the slightest bit of wind about him in this era? A new generation of pirates in their 30s asked this question. I know this question. Team 3 Captain Jozu nodded. 36 years ago, there was a war on a certain island that was enough to change the direction of the world. It was in that war that Rocks, the master of the sea, was defeated. After that, for some reason, his existence gradually disappeared. Already. Such a powerful overlord of the sea actually defeated. Who did it in that era and who has the ability to check and balance such a monster army? The pirates in the white group subconsciously murmured in shock. Marine Hero Garp has another hero. Foil Vista Road. Hero Garp. Fuck. Everyone in the white regiment suddenly fell asleep. I also remembered that the war gave birth to 2 heroes of Marine, one is the bastard Garp, but the other one I can't remember clearly, it seems to be named Luo. Luo or something. Team 10 Captain Curiel frowned in thought. Dad, you should remember, another Marine hero. Looking at Curiel's contemplative look. The 16th Division Captain Izo asked Whitebeard directly. Don't remember, don't know, don't ask me. A moment of tangle and disgust flashed across Whitebeard's old face. A decisive denial came. Daddy. Just then. The members of the intelligence department of the Whitebeard Pirates suddenly ran out of the cabin with anxious expressions. The special phone bug in the hand makes a blue sound. Dad, something is bad. That crazy ant suddenly contacted us. Kula. Then. Whitebeard gave a deep smile. Connect it. Clip. The phone worm connected. Well well, old man Whitebeard, it's so strange that you would take my contact. Linlin's laughter came from the phone bug. Hey, is it old man Whitebeard? Do you want Captain Rock's last legacy too? I tell you there is no door. I am not the same as I used to be. The crushed fruit of Captain Rock's, I have to decide. 4 Emperors Kaido of the Beasts reached the ears of the Moby Dick through the phone bug. What are you talking about, Kaido bastard? I said it just now, the crushed fruit is my thing, don't you want to create a beast army? Just continue to collect the beast fruit. Charlotte Linlin angrily said. Stupid Linlin, who would despise the strongest devil fruit ability? Kaido of the Beasts cursed. Listening to the scolding battle between the 2 great sea emperors on the phone. The white pirates of the Moby Dick were all dumbfounded. Kola la la la. Just then, Whitebeard's laughter resumed. It immediately attracted the attention of everyone on board. The disaster of the ministers and officials of the World Cake Island and Onigashima. Uluti and other members of the 6 Children of the Sky are all awe-inspiring. Old Lady Linlin, Kid Kaido, I'm not interested in any crushed fruit, you can grab it yourself if you want, but if you get killed in the end, don't blame me for not reminding you. Whitebeard whispered. Chapter 317 The High Wind Festival of Admiral Akainu Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. If you die there, don't blame me for not reminding you. Kula la la la. Old bastard Whitebeard, what nonsense are you talking about? Well, old monster, you can quit voluntarily, you're still acquainted. Ga. Communication end. At the same time. Marine Headquarters, Marineford. Marine's special signal interception and monitoring phone bug also quieted down again. The top meeting room fell into a long silence. A mad woman, their communications are not encrypted at all. Marine Headquarters Vice Admiral Dalmesia frowned. So they don't care if there is being monitored, let's just let us go, damn it, it's arrogant. Headquarters Vice Admiral Momonga gnashed his teeth. The only ones who can stop them are Admiral or Shichibukai, but in this situation, I'm afraid that the 7 pirate bastards will have to join in the fun. Vice Admiral Onagumo said solemnly. Damn, what's going on in Alabasta? It's just that the Sky Island going incident happened, and now there is such a big commotion, who is in charge of all this? Vice Admiral Maynard slammed a punch on the table in front of him. Even that piece of dusty history has been reopened to the world, the one that created Rock's sea dominance. The terrifying fruit ability, what will happen next is unpredictable. Even though Whitebeard has made it clear that he will not participate, there are still 4 emperors, Lot Linlin and Kaido of the Beasts. If these 2 people contact, no matter what, whether it is an alliance or a war, it will trigger a series of great events. Except, these 4 emperors, countless pirates and powerhouses on the sea will be attracted there. After all, the ability to become the overlord of the sea is really tempting. What the hell did King Cobra of Alabasta think? If so many strong men come together to fight, the entire kingdom of Alabasta will be destroyed, and it will become history. The vice admirals in the Marine's high-level meeting room were full of shock, and they all expressed their opinions. Isn't that right? Just then, another iron-blooded voice sounded from outside the conference room door. Akainu Admiral, you're back. The sailors who were standing outside the gate stood at attention instantly and let out a loud cry of joy. Tattoo, footsteps sounded. Admiral Akainu of the Marine Headquarters, dressed in a dark red suit and with dry hair, strode over. Akainu, you're back. Sengoku opened his mouth. With such a big thing happening, it's impossible to stay in one any longer, Mr. Sengoku. Admiral Akainu rode. Akainu Admiral. Mr. Akainu. You came back just in time, Akainu. Vice Admiral Onagumo, Doberman, Stolberry and other Marine Hawks, Vice Admiral, stood up happily to welcome. Akainu bro, what did you mean when you said just now? Marine Headquarters candidate Admiral Chaton Tokikake asked. Of course it's just right. It's rare that all the pirates gather together. Isn't this the best opportunity for our marine to strike with thunder? Akainu asked rhetorically. Then how exactly? Chaton Tokikake asked again. Of course it is to launch the strongest buster call. If 10 warships are not enough, there will be 20, 30, or even 100 ships. This is our marine's chance to destroy those pirates on the sea. We have every chance of annihilation. The opening of Admiral Akainu jagged blood. Can't. Wait. Admiral Akainu's voice fell. A resolute shout suddenly sounded in the field, from the candidate Admiral Momoshige Gion. Momoshige Vice Admiral, why not? Admiral Akainu raised an eyebrow. Subconsciously blurted out. Gion's face flashed a moment of panic, but quickly regained his composure. There is Alabasta, one of the most important allied countries of the world government, and the Neferutali family is even one of the 20 kings 800 years ago. If a buster call is launched there, the consequences are unimaginable. Gion analyzed calmly. I agree with Gion Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral Momonga decisively raised his hand in approval. Momonga, what's the matter with you today? Doberman frowned. According to what he knew about Momonga, this guy would not take such a decision lightly on weekdays. Doberman, Alabasta is not a small country, and as Gion said, it has too much influence. Vice Admiral Momonga smiled reluctantly. Just kidding. Not long ago, he just guessed that his father might be in the Waesung in Alabasta. How could he agree to use Buster Call to destroy the city? Momoshige, Momonga, I know what you are worried about. Don't worry, the target of Buster Call will only be the Wachung that initiated this series of events. Such a big Santian island, even 100 warships will never be able to erase. Admiral Akainu rode. No. Hearing this, the anxious look on Gion's face suddenly became even more intense. It doesn't work either. Akainu raised her eyebrows again. It doesn't matter. What is the reason for the owner of that Waesung fortress to initiate this series of incidents that attract pirates to gather? Our marine duty is to seize the opportunity to destroy the pirates. In this process, there may be some losses, but it's all worth it. The Wachung where the pirates gathered, and the people inside, will even be famous as a hero in the future. What's wrong with it? Good. Of course, after that, we marine may also bear some infamy. These bad infamy can be borne by the old man alone, as long as it is for justice. Admiral Akainu speaks righteously. A word fell. Many vice admirals in the room nodded in approval. For Admiral Akainu's decision and such high honors. Seeing this, the panic on Gion's face almost overflowed. A pair of beautiful eyes looked anxiously at Garp, Sengoku and others in front of the conference table. Under Gion's anxious gaze. Since the beginning of the meeting, the legendary Vice Admiral heroes Garp, Admiral Kizaru Borsellino and Admiral Kuzan III finally spoke up. Chapter 318 Garp Kazankizaru's statement. Akainu shocked open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Marine Headquarters Marineford, top meeting. With the words of the righteous words of Admiral Akainu who returned. Vice Admirals in attendance nodded in agreement. Just then. Since the beginning of the meeting, the Marine's highest combat powers, who have remained silent for a long time, finally reacted. No more silence. Enough, don't say more, Akainu. Admiral Kuzan stood up. Those lazy eyes in the past were now exuding a chilling oppressive force. Opposite of Akainu's magma-like fiery temperature. The huge conference room was half cold and half hot. Feeling the pressure bursting from Admiral Kuzan, the Vice Admiral in the conference room couldn't help but look shocked. Kuzan, what do you mean you are dissatisfied with my plan? Admiral Akainu narrowed his eyes and confronted him without giving up. Put away your excess justice, Akainu. Admiral Akainu's questioning was not answered by Admiral Kuzan. The one who spoke was Admiral Kizaru Borsellino. Borsellino. Look at the tall Admiral Kizaru. The look on Admiral Akainu's face was unconsciously moved. He was not at all surprised by the previous objection of Admiral Kuzan. Because the two have been very different in terms of fruitability and justice concepts since the beginning. It was the same with O'Hara 20 years ago. He nearly fought Kuzan over the handling of traitor Vice Admiral Saul. However now, Admiral Kizaru's rise and target. But Akainu was completely shocked. Decades of acquaintance. Akainu couldn't be more aware of Admiral Kizaru's character. He knew that what this guy liked most was watching plays. If it was in the past, in the face of this situation, it will inevitably be on the sidelines. Will not express any opinion. Today, however, I don't know what the wind is blowing. It be that the sun hit the west and came out, could it be the shock and wonder on Admiral Akainu's face? Borsellino. Mr. Kizaru. Marine vice admirals in the conference room were not without shock. However, what shocked them even more was the back. Absolutely not. If we really do this, wouldn't it be exactly the same as 36 years ago? Marine legend Vice Admiral Hiro Garp stood up, an old face with extreme indignation and anger. I will never allow the injustice of 36 years ago to happen again. The word, hero, should not be so ironic. Garp spoke decisively, with a firm tone. There was a powerful and intimidating aura all over him. Mr. Garp. Garp Vice Admiral. Garp, even you. Feeling the breath coming out of Garp's body. Vice Admirals in the conference room were not once awe-inspiring. A look of extreme shock appeared on his face unconsciously. Kuzan, Borsellino, Garp, Guillaume. Admiral Akainu's eyes swept over everyone without flinching. Enough is enough. Just before Admiral Akainu was about to speak, Marshal Sengoku at the top of the conference table finally spoke up. Let's end this meeting for now, Akainu, this proposal of yours will be discussed later, so let's go. Marshal Sengoku resolutely interrupted the aura of terror that was about to erupt in the arena. New world. Undercurrents flow. There were waves of turbulent waves in the sea. The mothership of the four emperors' red-haired pirates, the Redford, floats in the sea. Boss. On his shoulders stood a red-haired cadre of an orangutan shouting at his throat. What's wrong? Asked the redhead in a loud voice from the mast of the Redford. Old Man Whitebeard, Mad Woman Ant and that Kaido, the three of them are in touch. The cadre with the orangutan reported. What did you say? They're not going to join forces. Reorganize the Rocks pirates from 36 years ago. ... Hearing this, the red-haired Shanks has not responded yet. The red pirates on the boat screamed in surprise. So, what's the situation? Asked co-captain Ben Beckman. Old Whitebeard made it clear that he would not participate, but that crazy old woman and Kaido seem to be determined to get that fruit. I guess they have to pinch it. This time the park is really going to be lively. Another red cadre who got the news responded. The fiercest and strongest Paramesha crushed fruit. That man's ability. The four emperors' red-haired Shanks looked up at the sky. The rain beat on his face, blurring his expression. And also, sir, Old Man Whitebeard said something terrible at the end. The cadre with the orangutan groaned again. What did Old Man Whitebeard say? Someone asked. That, Old Man Whitebeard said Big Mom and Kaido might die there. The cadre with the orangutan said incredulously. Wow, the red pirates on the Redford suddenly burst into an uproar. The end of the first half of the Great Route. Sabayati Land Islands. Ocean Overlord Rocks, what an amazing existence this is. Trafalgar Law, the deceased surgeon who was still on the island, watched the latest report and broke into a cold sweat. Captain, I'm going to be scared to death. Heart Pet Bebo clutched his heart and fell straight to the ground. Beppo, cheer up. Pekin and the others suddenly shouted. Bebo, get up, get ready to go, how could we miss such a grand event, and that fruit? Trafalgar grins Isho. A restaurant in Sabayadi. Captain Bonnie, where did you say you were going? You don't have ears. Supernova Jewelry. Bonnie rolled his eyes, but we got here after a lot of hard work. We can go to the New World right away. The New World can go at any time. This event is rare for thousands of years, idiots. Big Stomach Girl Jewelry. Bonnie grins Isho. On the other side, Sabayadi Land number 44. Captain, we just arrived at Sabayadi, are we going back again? The pirates of the radio pirates collapsed and shouted. Ah blah blah. Broadcast Captain, Scratchman Apu, ignored the complaints of his subordinates. Turned to look at the other two parts of the port. The magician Hawkins, and the fallen Rear Admiral Drake who escaped from Thousand Sails Island. Do you want to go too? I don't know if you would mind walking together and taking care of each other. Chapter 319. The revolutionary instructor is back. The army commanders were shocked. Open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. Hundreds of boats compete for the flow, and thousands of sails compete together. This is the status quo on this piece. The past of the master of the sea, rocks, the shocking truths are revealed one by one. The whole sea was shaken by it. 22 years ago, One Piece King of Pirates Roger planted a deeply ingrained notion in people's hearts with his own death. Follow the recording pointer to the end, go to the last island, you can get the big secret treasure, you can become One Piece King of Pirates. The Great Pirate Era begins. The Great Pirate Age 22 years ago. Only this time. Pirates in the sea, the target pursued by the strong has changed from a big secret treasure to a fruit. The Paramesha crushed fruit originally belonged to the Ocean Lord Rocks. As long as you get the crushed fruit and get this most fierce and strongest ability, you will be able to aspire to the position of Overlord of the Sea. Decades ago, this fruit created the Ocean Overlord Rocks. Decades later, it can still create a second Overlord level existence above the Four Emperors. As long as you get this fruit, what One Piece, King of Pirates, the Four Emperors are all floating clouds. This sea will eventually be dominated by me alone. This is the consensus of the pirates in this sea today. In the distant past, the various strange abilities of the devil fruit were regarded as ominous and monsters by people. Made countless people stay away. However, the era of the great pirate has begun. More and more people are pouring into the sea. Of the devil fruit is also known to the people in the sea. Fruit-only ability theory, gradually penetrated into the hearts of the people. For those who are weak and lacking in talent, as long as they obtain a powerful devil fruit ability, they can leap to become a sea powerhouse. This has almost become the consensus of the big pirates. In the present era, there are fewer and fewer strong people who always focus on their own training and practice. More people just want to take shortcuts and instantly become stronger through the special abilities of devil fruits. Under such conditions, of all the fruit abilities of the former Ocean Overlord Rocks will cause unrest, one can already imagine. Pirates on the sea, don't think that Rocks is already a world-famous powerhouse before getting the fruit. They only know that this is the ability of the Overlord of the Sea. If you want to copy the way of Rocks, you must have this ability. As the event unfolded, there are even absurd rumors that he can command the third of the four emperors, Whitebeard, Ant, and Beasts by obtaining the ability to crush fruit. The four major sea areas of the southeast and northwest. The first half of the Great Root is a paradise, and the second half of the New World. And even the Red Soil continent. Countless people are gearing up and eager to try. Direction of Alabasta Kingdom. Unprecedented pomp. Ellipsis. Island of White Earth, Bal Diego. The site is full of yellow sand and the slightest bit of green, a barren desert. This is an island that doesn't exist on any map. It is also the base of the Revolutionary Army. A huge Lois fortress stretches across the center of the island. Long, the leader of the Revolutionary Army in a green coat, looked at the yellow sand in the sky, and his resolute and cold face gradually showed an excited look. Mr. Long, the Army commanders have arrived. The Revolutionary Army Base Intelligence Officer Tai Richie Erdeo, wearing a bare-eared hat, reported. I see. Long waved his sleeves and turned back to the conference room. Unbelievable. What a mess. It's unbelievable. Before entering the door, the exclamation of Lindbergh, the Confederate Army long-furred tribesman in the conference room, was the first to sound. Disgusting. Yo, it scares people. Morley, the rough-looking giant she-male and commander of the Western Army, spoke with a rough accent. The Union Army commander Karras, who was wearing a black feather coat, stared at Morley, the giant she-male, without blinking. But he never said a word. Phew, ha ha ha, staring at people like this, you're not interested in me, Karras. The giant she-male dodged shyly. Karras, you forgot to turn on the amplifier again. Hot Body and Hot Eastern Army Commander Bello Betty helplessly stroked his forehead. Ah, sorry. Callis, who spoke in an unusually low voice, turned on the loudspeaker and apologized in a low voice. I just wanted to say, Morley, you should know, the history of the Sea Lord rocks. Karras asked. I know. Morley nodded softly. Knows that more than 20 years ago, Golden Lion Shaki broke the legend of the iron wall of the deep-sea prison. Be the first jailbreaker in history. Yet few people know it. Escaped from Impel Down as early as 100 years ago. That, the first person to escape from prison is Morley, the giant she-male. Since Impel Down escaped, Morley has been incognito, living a reclusive life. Until more than 30 years ago, I met the dragon and Ivankov. Although he lived in seclusion, Morley couldn't be completely ignorant of the changes in the sea outside. Morley, the old man, experienced the era of the rocks, the master of the sea. The horror of Overlord rocks is also all too clear. When those horrific truths were confirmed from Morley, a witness, the Revolutionary Army commanders in the conference room were all shocked and speechless. Dragon. Mr. Dragon. The sound of footsteps sounded, and the leader Long stepped in. Dragon, these are in the newspaper. Do you know all about it? Bello Betty got up. The dragon nodded calmly. Aren't you surprised at all, Mr. Long? Lindbergh asked. The Lord of the Sea rocks. When I was with my mentor before, I fought with him more than once. With a look of reminiscence on the dragon's face, he spoke calmly. However, it was the first time I heard the leader Long talk about the army commanders in the past, and it was as if they had been struck by lightning. The shock in their hearts turned into waves of turbulent waves, beating their spirits. Mr. Long has fought against the overlord of the sea before. It's amazing. Wait. Bello Betty, the commander of the Eastern Army, who looks good and has a hot body, seems to have noticed something. Teacher Long, is the mentor you're talking about? The revolutionary mentor? Bello Betty asked. Long nodded affirmatively. I called you this time to tell you one thing. What's the matter? The commanders of the four major armies all waited nervously. Our revolutionary mentor is back. Long said excitedly. Nani? Chapter 320 Hawkeye Mahawk. S Disaster Day Open Black Lens Bracket 2/4 for subscription Close Black Lens Bracket. Island of White Earth, Bal Diego. The meeting room of the fortress of the Revolutionary Army base. The voice of the leader Dragon fell. The huge conference room was suddenly silent, and the needles could be heard. Bello Betty, Lindbergh, Morley, the commanders of the four major armies of Callis, and other veteran revolutionary cadres all widened their eyes. His face was full of shock and disbelief. I don't know how long ago. The sound of "Ku Dong" continued in the conference room. It was the shock that people swallowed and stuck in their throats. Hey, Dragon, you're not joking, are you? Eastern Army Commander Bello Betty shook his head unconsciously. The delicate pretty face is full of incredible writing. The delicate body was shaking uncontrollably because of the extreme shock. Even the one in front of him is like the waves of the sea, undulating. Betty, after knowing Mr. Long for so many years, has he ever made a joke? Wait, Long responded, and Lindbergh, the commander of the Confederate Army, took the lead in rebutting. But, it is. Bellow Betty was nervous, too excited to speak. Did it happen when you went to East Blue more than 3 months ago? Asked the commander of the Union Army, Callis. Yes. The leader dragon nodded. Then Sabo and Koala, are they on our revolutionary teacher's side now? Callis seemed to have thought of something, and the shock on his face was even worse. Everything is as you think. The usual unsmiling leader, Long, now had a rare smile on his resolute face. The East Blue incident 3 months ago, Shichibukai Crocodile's abnormal behavior, Sabo who appeared in the South Blue War, and that. The mysterious city that repeatedly broke big news, Waesung. Bellow Betty took a few deep breaths, trying to calm herself down. Connected. Everything is connected. The Wachung, in Alabasta, the mysterious existence behind Shichibukai Crocodile, the initiator of a series of major events on the sea recently, is our revolutionary mentor. Lindbergh looked dull and murmured unconsciously. Immediately afterwards, an uncontrollable emotion called excitement emerged from Lindbergh's face. Phew ha ha ha, Mr. Long, you really scare people, that revolutionary mentor, I don't know if I have seen it before. He must be an incredible figure. Morley the giant she-male opened his mouth. Dragon, if it's the revolutionary mentor, don't you think it's even worse? The powerful secrets of the former master of the sea, the rocks, are revealed, and that city will become the target of public criticism. The worst has happened, the 4 emperors Lot Linlin and Kaido of the beasts are even on their way. Callis said worriedly. So what about Callis? Long asked calmly. That's 2 sea emperors. Lindbergh was also amazed. What are the 4 emperors facing? 36 years ago, they were panicking like lost dogs, and this time is no exception. The leader Long said with a frenzied and confident face. Comrades, the original light of the revolution has been lit, and preparations can be made. The day of declaring war on the world government will not be too far away. ... Like a sharp blade across the world, dividing the world into 2. This is the Red Earth continent. Except the Holy Land Mariajoy. There are hundreds of millions of people living on the Red Earth continent, which occupies the largest land area in the world. From this, a large city has been derived, and there are various businesses. For example, using the powerful creatures unique to the Red Soil continent, the transportation industry with people and ships to and from the New World and Paradise. On the barren red land, a huge hippopotamus with a body length of about 15 meters galloped swiftly. A coffin boat is fastened to the hippo's back. There are 3 people on the boat. 3. Ha ha ha, Hawkeye, look, this is really amazing. Usopp pointed to the news report in his hand and invited with a laugh. Not interested. Eyed Mihawk, known as the world's greatest swordsman, is indifferent. However, the vibrating color in his sharp eyes could not be completely concealed. At the moment when the news bird dropped the newspaper, his eyes have roughly browsed the big news above. Don't be so indifferent, Hawkeye, how can we say that we have had a few banquets together, the big deal? The little fat man Reiziru, who was sitting on the edge of the coffin ship, gritted his teeth. He pulled out a large piece of flesh from his pocket. It's a big deal, I'll give you a piece. The little fat man lazily said with a painful expression. Vivi twitched the muscles in the corners of Mihawk's eyes. Has always been alone, and he likes tranquility the most, but he actually spreads out these 2 red-haired treasures. For Hawkeye, this is simply a disaster. The other side. Seeing that Hawkeye didn't respond for a while, the little fat man lazily withdrew his hand happily, and ate happily to himself. Hey, Lou, look over there. At this moment, Usopp suddenly screamed and pointed to a blue line of fire galloping in the sky. That's It seems to belong to the Whitebeards. Lazalu's eyes widened, and he also recognized the identity of the blue line of fire. Hey, Whitebeard's pineapple head. Yasopp raised his voice and greeted loudly. At Yasopp's call, the blue line of fire in the sky paused. The real Phoenix is revealed. That's, the red-haired one also has Hawkeye. The captain of the first team of the Whitebeard pirates, the Phoenix Marco, had a look of surprise on his face. Hey, Marco from Whitebeard's house, are you in such a hurry? Are you going to Alabasta too? The little fat man Lazalu shouted loudly. Are you too? The phoenix in the sky spreads its wings. After a while, it landed on the huge hippo, and the blue flames around him gradually subsided. Hey, from the Whitebeards, have you seen this? Lazalu showed off the newspaper in his hand. This is... Marco's eyes swept across the newspaper. A pair of narrowed eyes suddenly widened. Ocean Overlord rocks. Ha ha ha. Looking at Marco's shocked little expression. Finally found someone to share this shocking. Yasopp and Lazalu laughed with joy. Although their camps are different, but if the destination is the same this time, should we go together? Yasopp rode. Ah. Marco, who was still in shock, nodded unconsciously. Which was already cramped and narrow, suddenly became more and more crowded. A small expression on Mahawk's face at this moment. This is a total disaster. Mahawk, the world's greatest swordsman, couldn't help thinking.